welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We've got a jam-packed Overwatch Thursday here. Kicking it off in ABC TESPA, seeing if Boise State can get back to their winning ways after a pair of losses last week, some of the best teams in the country. I am Michael Fisher, joined by David Captain Star Vogel to call all of the action. First up, it's Boise State taking on NYU. The Bobcats, a very talented team. We'll see how Boise State can handle the Bobcats. We mentioned Boise State coming off last week, a very tough 0-2 performance in TESPA, losing to Utah, Miami, Ohio, some of the best teams in the country. Captain Star, what are you looking for tonight for Boise State Blue Team in response to two losses last week? Yes, they're talented teams, but in the end of the day, it's still two losses. You at least wanted one of those.
Yeah, those losses were a bit painful. But on the bright side, they were very close. If we play those over again, I'm confident that we have a definite chance of victory. And I want to see us be able to use that skill that we have and pull out the victory today.
Yeah, with the Swiss format in ABC, the Activision Blizzard Collegiate Overwatch Tournament, Boise State was undefeated, played some of the best. Those two losses will bump them down, but do not estimate NYU or Waterloo, their opponents here today, as both these teams are very formidable foes. Waterloo even maybe should have cracked the top 10 in the coaches poll, where Boise came into the year number 8, just didn't quite make the cut, but we'll kick things off with NYU. I know some of the coaches for Boise State said some of it was just, it's hard to find good scrim partners when you're the number 8 team in the country. There's a lot of teams that you're going to just kind of roll over. It's hard to find those good scrim partners. But last week, as you mentioned, Captain Star, it was very, very close. We look at that Utah match, milliseconds away from eating a blizzard on Route 66 that probably would have sent us to a Game 3. Just a couple of little mistakes. We had some guys walking. We had Hanzo's walking off the edge while ulting. We had some dead eyes right into the Genji deflect that one-shot the McCree. Just little mistakes for Boise State was the difference in those matches.
Yeah, we were under so much pressure that small mistakes can kind of snowball. So, like, the Hanzo, I believe, was Goblin. Like, he would have never done that normally, but there's just so much pressure on these players to perform that it makes it really easy to make those very rookie mistakes sometimes.
Yeah, the only real concern for Boise State last week is Control was not their map. Absolutely pummeled by Utah and Miami of Ohio. They nearly took Escort off of Utah. They did take it off Miami of Ohio and got to Hybrid before losing in map 3 in this best of 3 overall. So Boise State very close to taking down some of the best teams in the nation. We'll see how they do against some teams that are up and coming, and it's a great resume win if you're NYU or Waterloo and you're able to knock off Boise State. As we mentioned, it's a 10-game Swiss in the ABC, formerly known as TESPA tournament. Best of 3 will go Control, Escort, Hybrid. Boise State came in at number 8. After those losses last week, the Broncos have unfortunately dropped down to number 9, actually in a tie for the last spot in the polls with the UT Dallas. So we'll see Boise State trying to defend that ranking. Right now they've got a pair of teams that might even find themselves in that top 10, so everybody's gunning for Boise State. So now they're no longer the underdog, Captain Star. They're the favorite once again.
Yeah, we had a fantastic performance last week. Even though we did lose, we've proven ourselves to be very capable, and I'm expecting us to win today, but you can never really know.
Yeah, as I mentioned, these are two. They're not. You didn't see their names there. NYU, a very talented team who should be Boise State's first opponent, and then Waterloo. As I talked to the Boise State coaches right before we went live, some thought they probably should have been in that top 10 poll before the season started. Maybe just underrated by some of the coaches who voted. We'll have to see, but we'll kick things off. Boise State Blue taking on NYU's Bobcats here in TESPA. What are you looking for in Control, Captain Star? Because as I mentioned last week, Control was not Boise State's map. They just absolutely folded over and died against Utah, Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, Control is a very difficult game mode, and a lot of it comes down to dry fighting. Most like the Escort and 2CP and those types of maps, your ult economy matters a lot. It's very important. But when you talk about Control, a lot of the game just comes down to dry fighting and how you perform during that.
So you see here the lineup for Boise State, same as always for the blue team. Guac, Kill, Goblin, Plato, a large bagel, and Asu. Going to kick things off. Always got to keep an eye out. Rezo might sub in. He has been playing really, really strong this season when he is filled in. And you see for NYU, Luck by Chance, White Guy, Sirinth, Eeyore, Drinky, and Meep Tupia going to be taking on Boise State, and we'll be curious to see what our first map is going to be. Did actually have a recent patch that these players will be playing on. We'll get to that in a second, though, as we do get get to Doc's keys. In Overwatch, we always talk about never taking a fair fight. Well, what exactly does that mean? It means take fights in unexpected places, when they are unprepared, and when you can have ability advantages. And it's all brought to you by Count, whose Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables a personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. If you want to stay safe online, go check them out at Count.com, KOUNT.com. As I mentioned, though, Captain Star, we did have a couple of patch changes. We did see how the recharge time for the shurikens from Genji reduced a little bit. In turn, his ult was increased, but we have seen a lot of Genji recently, something to watch out for. They did revert the Reaper nerfs to increase his bullet damage, and the other one that I think is really going to affect teams as double bubbles the meta is they increased how quickly Zarya's energy will decrease. That's something we're going to watch out for because Kel, a very talented Zarya player, is almost always at 90+. That might go down to 85, 80 with these recent changes.
Yeah, Zarya is a very strong champion. A lot of her utility just comes down to being able to protect anyone on our team, essentially turning a squishy into a tank temporarily, and then can just melt with all that damage. And so that nerf is, I don't think it's going to make that big of an impact when you're so good that you can keep your charge up that high. It's not going to matter a whole lot when it reduces a little bit faster.
We will see here as we hop into map number 1. Team's going to meet up on the high ground. Oh, great Maywall. They're going to catch Meep on the wrong side. Immortality Field does go down from Drinky. Taken out by Plato, and Boise State's going to win that first engagement, send NYU retreating. See if the Bobcats want more of that. Maywall not going to land on the side of NYU. Boise State waiting for their own Maywall up in 6 seconds. Goblin going to get stunned. Can't get the crowd freeze off in time. He's actually going to be taken out by Eeyore. Boise State's going to lose the first one, but a great 4-man stun. Walk already had the shatter available, and Boise State just runs through NYU with an ace.
That's one of the tough things about May is she doesn't do hardly any damage compared to other DPS, but you can set your team up for fantastic fights with that wall. And the wall the BSU's put up allowed Guac to just swing his hammer without fear of being punished for it, allowing him to charge up his ult so fast.
See the Ant Matrix is online for Drinky. We'll see if he wants to pull it out. AC is going to drop down his Ant Matrix. Great Maywall, though, going to cut things off. Boise State still going to pick up 2, make it 4. And let's just make it a clean 6 for Boise State. It's another team kill, and NYU's got to change up their strategy.
Yeah, at this point, I think NYU should just take another dry fight, charge up your ults, and come in with multiple ults charged. Right now, they only have the Ant Matrix, and they're not super close to any other ultimates. So I think their best plan would be to just take a dry fight, charge up at least 2 or 3 ultimates, and then press the go button.
You see Goblin has swapped over the Doomfist. There is the Ant Matrix from Jinky. It's going to come down. Maywall will come out. Immortality Field landed for NYU, but it's not enough to save White Give. And now Goblin's looking for a flank on the backside. He sees Sirenth around the corner. Him and Plato going to combine to take him out. And that's 2 more down for NYU. Here comes a huge flank from Goblin. Going to punch right in on the backline. He is all alone with no escape. A little bit aggressive there for Boise State's Doomfist. We're going to see the sound barrier come out from a large bagel. Grab from Eeyore. Looks like it's going to whip. Huge 4-man shatter once again from Guac. And Boise State's going to clean up on the back of that. And once again, NYU back to their spot.
Boise State has been doing a fantastic job of controlling space. Even within that small room, they just put so much pressure in multiple different angles, allowing Guac to, again, swing his hammer incessantly and getting a second shatter off so quickly into this match.
Pair of ultimates burn there by NYU. They're coming in on sound barrier and a Deadeye. They're going to try for the low ground flank. Meteor Strike is going to come out. Goblin will come smashing down. Actually, he's going to change his mind as a sound barrier from Luck by Chance will come out. Boise State's going to burn right through it. Deadeye is going to be used there by Plato as an Ant Matrix from Asu off screen. Boise State's trading 1 for 1. Double Deadeye from Plato is going to pick up a pair more. Blizzard will come out from White Give, but it's not going to land onto anyone for Boise State. Great shield there by Guac to stop being frozen. Immortality Field comes out, hammer to the head onto White Give, and Boise State should be able to pick up map number 1 with ease.
Yeah, I remember last week we were talking about how Boise State's target focus was a little bit lackluster, which cost them a few fights. And I think the same thing is true here for the enemy team. We're splitting them up, making it difficult for them to engage on one specific target. You saw the Doomfist come crashing down and did split up the team. And then once the team was split, the main BSU force was able to just push in and get elimination, then won the fight off of the Doomfist splitting the team.
Yeah, I will say, Boise State with an easy win there on that first control map, and it came really at the expense of Goblin, who has not been having his best game. A couple of off-camera deaths, just getting soloed down. We'll see now on that Symmetra. if he's going to be able to get Boise State onto that point a bit quicker, get those turrets set up. We'll see how long he's going to stay on. It does look like both teams going to get there at about the same time. Despite the symmetric teleport, turrets will go down, and the team's going to meet in the middle. Boise State just barely on the point first, so they'll have the small high ground advantage. Block already building up that charge. Meat going to be stunned out by a concussive grenade. Now the Broncos going to go in. They'll sandwich NYU. Immortality Field has come down from Drinky. Going to be the first thing taken out, and then Drinky will fall right after. Eeyore incredibly low, and Plato's going to pick up his second. Luck by Chance will go down as well. Boise State up 3. They're going to bait him right in the symmetric turrets, and Boise State's going to pick up the team kill.
Yeah, and Boise State won that because NYU split up again. They seem to be doing this pretty regularly, where Boise State will just put pressure on the front line, forcing them back, and their DPS supports and tanks aren't on the same page, and they split up slightly when they try to run away. And once they split up, Boise State just chooses a target and they focus them down.
Huge flame strike there for Meat. Gonna take Boise State low. They should have time to sustain. NYU right now trying to figure out if they want to go to the left or right up the middle. They're gonna go to the left. There's an Ant Matrix coming down from Asu. Luck by Chance, the first one taken out. Shatter nearly online for Meat. We'll see if he gets it in time for this fight. Immortality Field from Asu's come down. Asu will be taken out, but Boise State's going to pick up 2 more to redeem their support. Goblin once again get taken out, but it's the Plato show right now. He finds another one onto White Give. Sirna is very low on that Tracer, but able to get away, and Boise State once again survives the onslaught.
And again, that fight opened up when Eeyore on the Zarya was off on the other side of the point from the rest of her team, and Boise State just said, "You're on your own. We're just going to collapse on you."
Drinky's going to come down. We're going to Photon Barrier and a Deadeye for Boise State. Double kill for Plato once again. See a flank from Cal on the back line. He's got the grab. He doesn't even need it. Boise State's going to clean up off screen. Cal gets one more. Can he find Sirna? The answer is yes. Boise State sends them right back to spawn.
Yeah, Boise State just used a couple ultimates, and they just absolutely secured victory. And NYU is trying to get ultimates, but they're not quite there yet. They're coming up close on the beat, the Deadeye, and the Graviton Surge. But they're not quite there yet, so if Boise State can press this issue, they can take another easy victory and secure this down.
Oh, great grab's going to come out there from Kel. Sound Barrier aggro from a large bagel. Luck by Chance going to get his down as well, but it's not in time to save Meat. Great pin there, but a double Deadeye from White Gives going to get NYU right back in the fight. Jernke will be taking it down. Eeyore is going to throw out his grab. He's going to solo onto Guac. Shield's going to hold as long as he can. He's going to be able to survive. Ant Matrix comes down from Asu. But a huge flame strike right to the dome is going to allow NYU to flip this point. Boise State a bit aggro there with the Sound Barrier.
Yeah, Boise State tried to take the fight before NYU got ultimates, and they almost succeeded, but Lucky got his beat just in time, was able to save his team, and with multiple other ultimates coming online at the perfect time, NYU was able to take a victory.
State still staggering here. Kel did get taken out. Meek's going to throw down the Shatter, whiff on everything. There is a pulse bomb that will take down Goblin. A large big going to fall down as well. And Boise State, nice headshot there for Plato. Probably should have reset, though, about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, he was awfully low, and he was just trying to die. But he had his ultimate. He didn't need to get any more charge. It was a slight misplay. He should have just died a little bit earlier. But now Boise State is coming into this with an ult advantage. They have one ult online, coming up on 3 other ultimates. Whereas NYU only have the speed that's coming up soon.
Luck by Chance. Building that Sound Barrier incredibly quickly. Photon Barrier, the first thing that's going to come out from Goblin is a Deadeye as well. He'll pull it right on Lucio as the Sound Barrier comes up, and that's going to open up everything for Boise State. The grab from Kel is going to miss, but unfortunately for NYU, without that Sound Barrier, their health bars don't stand a chance. It's a team kill for Boise State. They'll flip the point, and I don't think NYU gets back in time.
And this is what I was talking about before. Boise State is really good about managing their ult economy, which is less important in control, but they were able to make it work.
Great first win there for Boise State. We'll see if they can continue on in Escort. Don't forget, Idaho Army National Guard is a proud supporter of Boise State Esports. The top plays that you see at the end of every match are presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Getting ready for map number 2 here in this ABC showdown between Boise State and NYU. Fish and Captain Star call it all of the action. And right now, for NYU, they've just got to find a way to win those first couple fights because, especially in control, it'll change a little bit in Escort. If you lose the first 2 or 3 dry fights, you're just permanently at an ult disadvantage, and that showed time and time again on our control maps.
Yeah, NYU consistently had a faulty plan falling back. They just didn't have the communication required to keep their front line, their back line synced up with each other, and they split just enough for Boise State to find a weak target and exploit that. And that just opened up the fight and let Boise State take a relatively easy victory.
Now, if there is a exploitable part of Boise State right now, it looks like it has to be Goblin. We talk about him all the time. He's almost a poster child for taking unexpected fights because he's flanking on a Torbjorn or a Bastion. He's just been getting caught out a bunch and opening up at times for NYU to win. They've won a couple of those fights, so that's the one on Escort where if they can maybe take down Goblin, they could open up a hole in Boise State's back line.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. We're going to have to hope Goblin plays a little bit safer, or at the very least takes his flanks a little bit smarter so he can't get focused and stunned and just eliminated early. If he takes the flanks and he engages it at the same time of his team, that's a very, very powerful comp that they can do, and very powerful engage with a flanking Doomfist or a flanking Torbjorn.
Yeah, we've seen at times with that Molten Core, that Meteor Strike, even in the tank form from Bastion, he sandwiches perfectly with Boise State. Teams just get wiped, but it seems like for now NYU may be sniffing that one out. We will be heading to Kings Row next. We'll actually be going to Hybrid second, not Escort. So we'll see here. I know you're a big fan of Kings Row. There's not as many flanking opportunities, but we've seen at times Goblin still able to pull that off. This is the ABC Overwatch regular season. It's Boise State Blue taking on the NYU Bobcats, heading on to game number 2 in this best-of-3 Boise State with a dominating win on Control, just one map away from getting back to their winning ways that we saw end last week. And with Kings Row, it's a map that these teams are going to know and love and play quite a lot, Captain Star, so we should see teams pretty familiar with the routes and strategies they want to take.
Yeah, one thing that we always like to talk about when we practice is every team loves Kings Row. But that doesn't mean you have an advantage, because since every team likes playing it and they're good at it, you have to be really good to be able to be better than the enemy team on Kings Row in particular. So it's one of those maps that everyone's good at. But you're not going to have the advantages you can if you practice on one of the off-meta maps.
Here to see how long that Boise State, now in the red, is going to stick on this Pharmacy with the Pharah and the Mercy. With White Give on that McCree, who at times has had the ability to pop off. That hit scan is going to be very frustrating for Goblin to deal with. We'll see how long he wants to put up with it. Right now, just trying to put some shots on. The hover rate for the Pharah jet fuel just barely increased, so he should be able to stay in the air just a tad longer. Immortality field and an ice wall going to go down. White Give getting hunted down there by Boise State. Looks like a large bagel was on the case, and Guac going to pick up that first one onto White Give. That'll open up the sky. Searnet will go down as well. Meat will fall without any DPS, and a Deadeye already coming out for Boise State. They should make quick work of this first point here and unlock the payload rather quickly.
Yeah, NYU's comp very much revolved around catching someone out, with the May wall to just wall the choke, so as soon as the enemy Ryan comes through, you can wall him off. That was the idea they had going into this. But because Boise State came out with such a dive comp, it made it very difficult for NYU to play to their ideal position.
Yeah, one of the few times we've seen Boise State with this double bubble of Winston and Zarya, which has been the meta. Boise State does like that Ryan for Guac. White Give's going to be the first one taken out. Kel will fall as well. Guac right now trapped in a hard place. Going to be able to barely get away. Rocket Mirage is online for Goblin. He's going to pop it right onto Meat before the Immortality field comes down. Eeyore will take him out. There's a res that's going to come out to Goblin. The cart's still pushing, so Boise State really not losing time with these deaths. Luck by chance barely going to be able to survive. He will retreat. Primal Rage has been popped by Guac. You can see Boise State has 3 members pushing way onto that second point. 3 more pushing the cart at its max speed. Valkyrie is going to be popped there by Asu as Goblin takes Drinky down. A couple of ults available on the side of NYU. We'll see if they want to blow him as that cart very far behind where the action's taking place.
Yeah, NYU took a very smart engagement. They caught Boise State indoors, where it's very hard for the mobility of the dive comp to actually be effective. But unfortunately, the Justice that Goblin shot out got a single pick, and that was enough for Boise State to just put on enough pressure to push him all the way back.
Really see the Rocket Barrage pick out the Reinhardt, as we're going to see there's the Deadeye with the Amp Matrix. Boise State's going to line of sight that one. I don't really know how Kel got hit, but that's enough for Searnet to take him out. We already see the res come out. Luck by chance will be taken out, so it's a 5-on-5. NYU going to grow a little bit of confidence. They'll rush forward. Guac will be taken out, but Plato remains on fire this match. It's another pick onto Searnet. And the Bobcats right now sitting on a ton of ultimates.
Yeah, Boise State's ult economy is a little bit in shambles. They're having a really hard time using their ult effectively because NYU, that Widowmaker has shut them down this last fight, and their front line has been very aggressive in taking space and making it very difficult for Boise State to punish it.
Despite the Widowmaker and the McCree, Goblin has not been taken out that often. Rocket Barrage will come out, not going to find anything. Sound Barrier from Luck by Chance will be used in response. They also threw out the grab as well. Guac going to be taken out there. A large bagel dropping low. A Deadeye from Plato. Not going to find anything. He was trying to flank on the back line. Goblin will trade out his life for one kill on the Luck by Chance. There's another Ant Matrix. A great stun, though, from Plato. We talked about the flank. This time it was Plato with a huge concussive, stopping White Give mid-ult. They're going to leave Meep all by himself. ER will take out Plato. It is now it's a duel of the Zarya cannons. And Kel's going to be able to pick up a double kill. Rez comes out. A huge flank right there for Plato is why Boise State has unlocked the second point.
Yeah, that flank was fantastic. The NYU just didn't expect it. He just came up, got the flashbang, got the double headshot. It was super clean. The one thing I want to see out of Boise State is I don't think their comp is working nearly as well as they want it to, or at least they think. I don't think they're going to be able to actually take this last point if they keep playing their comp at the level they are now. If it's not working, they need to not be afraid to swap to something that they think will work better.
Grab's going to come out. We've got a Valkyrie as well going to be committed there. A great immortality fueled by drinking, going to keep the team alive. And EOR has taken down Plato, who's now swapped over to that Genji. Revive will come out. The Nano's up soon. We'll see if Boise State holds it for the Blade. As Guac gets taken out, no res available means it's a retreat for Boise State. I'm with you, Captain Star. That Pharah has probably got to go here on this final point.
Yeah, Farah's trying as best as she can with the Goblins, trying to get all that chip damage to the poke. But the shields from NYU are just blocking so much of that damage. I don't think it's worth keeping it around.
My guess is he'll drop this Rocket Barrage and get out. We'll see if Boise State wants to nano the Rocket Barrages. They're holding it with the Dragon Blade. Oh, man, just right into the wall. There's that Rocket Barrage on the back line. White Give will be taken out. They did nano Goblin. He will be taken out as a grab is going to be committed as well as an Ant Matrix from NYU, but they're not going to find a single elimination. Plato will take down Sirna. He's very close to that blade before EOR will take him down. Rez does come out. And now Large Bagel's got to build that nano for the nano blade as it's Boise State's win condition to finish off this point. Walk with the Tesla cannon. They're able to electrocute Meep to death. He's going to jump on EOR as well. Trying to get the kill, and he is able to get it with some help from Kel. Respawn advantage does go to the defenders as a sound barrier comes out from Luck by Chance. It only lands onto him and White Give, but it's enough for Boise State to get caught. There's a grab right on top of the payload. Boise State trying to keep him away. Meep can switch over to that Roadhog for the sustain. Dragon Blade from Plato has come out. Not enough damage to take down that Roadhog, and Boise State's probably forced to reset. Nice hook onto Kel there, and that's going to stagger the Broncos.
Yeah, at this point, Boise State needs to win a clean fight. If they keep getting staggered kills here and there, NYU is going to be able to just trickle back onto the point and hold it almost indefinitely. Boise State needs to get a good ult economy going, and they need a clean fight win where they can just get that last few meters for free.
Nano and the Dragon Blade have completely desynced right now. You can see it's 52% for Large Bagel, just 10 for Plato. There is still a Mercy with Valkyrie, but there's no Pharah now, and there's really no Sniper. I'm not sure whose damage he plans on boosting. Boise State just burning for time right now. Ult advantage is on the side of NYU, just barely. With the Deadeye coming up as well as the Ant Matrix right around the corner. There's that Ant Matrix with that Deadeye. Boise State will just choose to line of sight. Goblin going to be taken out there with a headshot. White Give's going to get one onto a Large Bagel. Plato gets one back, though. A 1-for-2 trades are not what Boise State needs when there's respawn advantage for NYU. And once again, the Broncos will retreat after wasting a minute of time.
And at this point, Boise State needs to just save up their ult economy and just go ham with a bunch of ultimates. They have 4 ultimates, but they really do want that Dragon Blade. I think the play would be to just dry fight it until Plato gets that Dragon Blade. And once you get that, then you can have your big ult combo, which is Graviton Surge and Nano Blade, which has the potential to just outright wipe NYU without them having a chance to do anything, especially without their Lucio having feet.
Red Sight comes out from Sirna. There is a grab, and Nano's actually going to go on to Guac. He has the Primal Rage available. Nice sleep on to Meep. He's going to get caught out. He'll get antied as well. Pulse Bomb's going to pick up the kill just from the impact damage. Meanwhile, Kel and Ace have been taken out. The Valkyrie was committed by the Mercy, and that feels like another swap that needs to be made, and Ace will do that with 44 seconds on the clock. Once again, the desynced Nano Blade means that Genji's kind of useless right now.
Yeah, and as you see, Boise State decided to swap to a Reinhardt, which is something that I was saying a while ago that the comp wasn't working and they needed to try something different. And they started swapping the DPS, but their front line was still falling apart. And I think this is what they should have been doing the whole time. But unfortunately, it's getting near the end, and we'll see if they're able to build up the ults required.
Boise State benefits with Sierna accidentally self-suiciding. Boise State's going to be taking a fight where there's no DPS available for NYU. Grab does come out. The Broncos able to pick up 3. They're just going to cap this point. A huge misplay by Sierna, walking off the edge when no one was next to him, completely changed how those final 20 seconds went. That was not Boise State's point to cap, and they do it on the back of a misplay.
Yeah, that was the most anticlimactic fight win I think I have ever seen. I don't think Boise State would have won that if Sierna hadn't have inted, or not inted, or just walked off the edge.
I mean, it was kind of an int. I mean, we didn't even see it. I just saw on the kill feed that he had suicided. Thought maybe he was going to try and just switch heroes. He didn't do that. Boise State gets a huge pick onto White Give, and then for 7 seconds, there's no DPS alive for NYU. So we'll see how the Bobcats can respond. If they're not able to 3-cap and send us to overtime, Boise State will be victorious in this match. So that tilt's got to go right out the window if you're NYU, because you just cost yourself a winnable map here.
Yeah, I think Boise State needed to swap their comp a little bit earlier than they did, but it did work out in the end. But I'm curious to see if Boise State is going to be a little bit more proactive in the second half and respond to what NYU rolls out, rather than trying to make their comp work.
Yeah, I think that Farah stayed way too long. I think the Mercy stayed even longer, and that was the 2 downsides for Boise State, especially when you're not boosting someone like a McCree or a Widow or an Ash. There's not a whole lot of value Mercy can get because she can't really fly around and she's an easy target. So we'll see here. NYU not really making any swaps at all. Boise State, a bit of a more interesting comp, but definitely some heroes that people are very comfortable on, especially that Hanzo for Goblin. Plato on the Torbjorn, not something we see every day, but Plato has been popping off recently. Just keep an eye on him. Nice headshot there for Goblin. Going to land on to Eeyore. Should be healed up rather easily as the Torbjorn turrets will send them back. Sonic Arrow's going to give him away. And there's a pick from a large bag onto Sierna. Not every day you see the Lucio take out the Widowmaker.
And this is a comp you've seen Boise State run every single time they're on defense. It gives them so much dive potential from all that high ground that they can take control of, while still having Quack on that Orisa to be able to just hold point when NYU decides to actually try to take point. The way NYU breaks this is by going the long way around and trying to knock Boise State off the high ground. But every time we've seen it so far, Boise State has been able to get at least a few picks while NYU is rotating, or in the previous matchups, they've been consistently able to get picks, and we'll see if they're able to do it this time as well.
Goblin was going for the flank. I think he opted against it. He's still looking for the side of NYU as they've engaged on the rest of the Boise State line. Eeyore taken out by Kel. Gonna get the Dragon Arrow, gonna come through there. Goblin's gonna be able to pick up one. Sierna gets one onto a large bagel, but that's the only thing that NYU is gonna get. That Widowmaker the only one to live. Boise State will win that first engagement.
This is what I was talking about. NYU needs to take such a long route to be able to clear Boise State off of that high ground. And Boise State has Hanzo, they have Torbjorn, they have all these characters who are able to deal damage and be relatively safe, so they're able to just pick off NYU in the long rotation they have to make.
Online for Ace, he'll throw it down right on top of the Boise State line. Good job by NYU. They're going to line aside all of that damage. They'll even throw out an Immortality Field for Drinky, who's sitting on his own Ant Matrix, so Boise State has to be careful, and it's going to go down right on top of the point. Diva Bomb will be used there. Nice shield, going to stop that from picking up anything for NYU, but it will force them off their Ant Matrix. Molten Core will come out as Goblin's the first elimination in the fight. White Give will be taken out. Luck by Chance barely going to survive. It looks like NYU's going to try and retreat. They're now split up. Luck by Chance is the next one to fall. Pin's going to land onto Plato, but he'll survive as Meep is going to be taken out. Cal will be traded off, but unfortunately for NYU, they just split up, and Boise State took extreme advantage of that.
Yeah, Boise State's comp is so revolved around having Guac just hold point, while the rest of Boise State just takes off angles and just pummels the back line of NYU. And it's been working out for them very well this time. I wonder, now that NYU has the ult advantage, they have the potential to just get onto point and hold it very aggressively. And we'll see what they decide to do.
NYU sitting on 4 ults with a minute and a half left. Would not be the worst idea to just commit all 4 of them and be able to capture this point. Eeyore taken low. Immortality Field will keep him alive. Boise State only has that supercharger available. Their sound barrier is coming up. There's that supercharger from Rock that's going to come out. There's the full committal. We're going to get the Deadeye. We're going to get the grab and the sound barrier. Deadeye gets one on to Guac. Now we're going to see the supercharger taken out and that Immortality Field. The large bagel will throw down the sound barrier. Gets the shields onto everybody. Molten Core will come out. There's an Ant Matrix as well for Boise State. Diva Bomb from Kel. Only will take down the Immortality Field, but it allows Boise State to get a great pick on to Meat. Eeyore, the next target, going to be burned to death by that Molten Core. The respawns do favor the side of NYU for now, and Boise State's going to lose one more member in a large bagel. This should give an opportunity for the Bobcats, but a great swap by Guaki comes rolling in on the wrecking ball. They're able to catch NYU off guard. They're going to pick up 2 ticks. Only 28 seconds left. There's no ult available for either team, and NYU's going to get sent back to spawn, and they're going to have to stagger this last fight.
Yeah, Boise State did a great job. They knew they were at an ult disadvantage. They just kind of let NYU use their ultimates and just kind of played passively until they could respond, which gave 2 ticks, but 2 ticks is better than a full point.
Goblin's going to go right into that whole team. Is able to blink away. And here comes the final fight. Siren is the first elimination. White Give goes down as well. No DPS alive for the side of NYU. Doesn't stop them from getting a pick onto Plato. They're going to need more than that as Drinky will fall as well. Minefield from Guak is going to come out right on top of that point. Luck by chance. Tries for the sound barrier. Punched to death by Kel before he hits the ground. No shields available, and Boise State holds excellently on Kings Row, and they'll get the 2-0 victory in our first match of the night.
Yeah, Boise State really does like their defense on Kings Row. That's an interesting comp that's worked very well every single time they've used it.
Boise State with the 2-0 win over NYU. Get some revenge for what we saw last week in ABC, but there's still one more game to go against Waterloo for the Broncos to have a 2-0 night and be able to keep pace with some of the better teams. Don't forget, you can score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You can match with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. Go unlock your true talent at esportstower.com. Boise State with the 2-0 win over NYU here. Captain Star, a great response for Boise State. I still think Kings Row left probably more to be desired than actually celebration for Boise State, but in the end, they still get the victory.
Yeah, their attacking round was a little bit rough. They should have swapped their comp earlier. They should have played it a little bit differently. But in the end, they did make the right decisions. They were able to win attack, and then their defense hold was spectacular. Being able to just full hold on the first point is an accomplishment.
Yeah, full hold into 4 ultimates. I mean, and we did see a little bit of a role reverse. It was actually Plato who was getting the huge flanks for Boise State. Got a huge flashbang to stop White Give and open up that last point for Boise State. So an overall great match, but there's plenty more to come. That'll do it for our first match. We've got our top 5 plays brought to the Idaho Army National Guard. If you want more information about taking your impressive critical thinking skills into real time, go check them out at iGuardGaming.com. But we'll take a short break. We'll leave you with our top 5. And up next, it's Boise State versus Waterloo. Make sure you're following the channel to stay tuned. This is a matchup of potentially 2 top 10 teams. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Deadeye as well. He'll pull it right on Lucio as the sound barrier comes up, and that's going to open up everything for Boise State. The grab from Kel is going to miss, but unfortunately for NYU, without that sound barrier, their health bars don't stand a chance. It's a team kill for Boise State. They'll flip the point, and I don't think NYU gets back in time. Plato, we talked about the flank. This time it was Plato with a huge concussive, stopping White Give mid-ult. They're going to leave Meep all by himself. EOR will take out Plato. It's now it's a duel of Rosario Cannon. Kel's going to be able to pick up a double kill. Res comes out, and a huge flank right there for Plato is why Boise State has unlocked the second point.
Fear of being punished for it, allowing him to charge up his ult so fast.
The Ant Matrix is online for Drink. We'll see if he wants to pull it out. AC is going to drop down his Ant Matrix. Great May wall, though, going to cut things off. Boise State still going to pick up 2, make it 4. And let's just make it a clean 6 for Boise State. It's another team kill. And NYU's got to change up their strategy. NYU, here comes a huge flank from Goblin. Going to punch right in on the back line. He is all alone with no escape. A little bit aggressive there for Boise State. Doofist, you're going to see the sound barrier come out from a large bagel. Grab from EOR. Looks like it's going to whip. Huge 4-man shatter once again from Guak. And Boise State's going to clean up on the back of that. And once again, NYU back to their spot. Wall not going to land on the side of NYU. Boise State waiting for their own main wall up to 6 seconds. Goblin going to get stunned. Can't get the crowd freeze off in time. He's actually going to be taken out by EOR. Boise State's going to lose the first one, but a great 4-man stun. Walk already had the shatter available, and Boise State just runs through NYU with an ace.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure. Legendary parts for legendary wins.
Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena, continuing on with our second match of the night in the ABC Overwatch regular season. We just saw Boise State 2-0 NYU, but the competition's only going to get tougher as Boise State's now going to be taking on Waterloo, many think is a top 10 team. I'm Michael Fish-Fisher, joined by David Captain Star Vogel to call all of the action here. To everyone in chat, a big welcome to you, and to Captain Star. What do you want to see for Boise State in this second game? We talked about how in that first game against NYU, for the most part, felt like Boise State was ahead in alt economy. They made a couple of questionable decisions on Kings Row. We know Waterloo, a little bit stronger team than NYU, probably could be a top 10 team. Boise State's probably got to clean up a couple of things. What do you want to see them clean up the most if they want to make sure they keep a win here against Waterloo?
Yeah, I think Boise State did a great job going against NYU, but the pharmacy on Kings Row stayed too long. They weren't getting value off of it. Boise State in general seemed a bit reluctant to change their composition, and I think that is the thing that was holding them back. If they change it earlier, they change it a little more often, they can take the advantage of the fight way easier. So I think that's what I want to see out of them in this next game.
Started out strong from Boise State. They got 3 straight team kills on Control against NYU. We'll see if that can continue against Waterloo. As we mentioned, the Warriors, a very strong team. Just a rundown of how things are in the Activision Blizzard Collegiate Overwatch scene, formerly known as TESPA. 10-game regular season in the Swiss format, so the more you win, the tougher opponents you will play. It's best of 3. We'll go Control, Hybrid, and then Escort. Boise State was number 8 in the preseason after a pair of losses last week to number 4 Utah and number 5 Miami of Ohio. The Broncos have dropped down to number 5, or number 9, and are actually in a tie for that 9th place spot with UT Dallas. So the Broncos flirting with dropping out of the polls. We'll see if they're able to hold strong against Waterloo. The Warriors, as we mentioned, talked to Boise State's coaches before the broadcast, thought probably the Warriors should have been a top 10 team in the coaches poll when the season started. Just got a little bit overlooked, so maybe that will fuel the Warriors to an upset win over Boise State as we get ready for our first matchup, Captain Star. And I will say, I think the other thing that we kind of touched on is just a little bit better DPS play for Boise State. I thought Plato was outstanding, but at times Goblin kind of got picked off. NYU couldn't punish it, but maybe a team as talented as Waterloo could find a way to win in a 5v6.
Yeah, Goblin likes to do his flanks, and those can be very powerful. But if the enemy team is coordinated and they know it's coming, they can turn really quickly, and if they can catch you out, that's already a +1 for the enemy team.
Yeah, we saw Plato kind of flip that. They're looking for Goblin. Plato gets a huge flank on King's Row, lands a giant flashbang to stop the Deadeye through an Ant Matrix. Who knows how that fight would have gone? So maybe if you have Plato on the flank and you have Goblin a bit more reserved on something like that Torbjorn, maybe that's the strategy, but we'll have to see as we get ready to go in our map number 1. It's Boise State Blue. It's Waterloo here in our TESPA, second game of the night, but don't go anywhere. We've got a ton more Overwatch action coming up on the channel here this evening. As we get the Doc's keys to the game, never take a fair fight. Take a fight in unexpected places. We've seen Boise State do that when the other team is unprepared and when you can have ability advantages. That was key in the Broncos win over NYU, continually having ult economy advantages, continuing to be able to put out more ults on the enemy team, and being able to find yourselves in very advantageous positions as we know how powerful ults are in Overwatch. It's all brought to you by Count, whose Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, enables a personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. They help with quick and accurate identity trust decisions as well. If you want to stay safe online, go check them out at count.com, Count.com. Getting ready to go here for map number 1. Fish and Captain Star going to call all of the action between two of the better teams in ABC. As we mentioned, Boise State number 9, Waterloo knocking on that door as well. We'll see which one was able to pick up the win here today. What are you looking for on our control map, comp-wise or just first team fight-wise? Because you mentioned you got to win your first fight on control because how the game mode works.
Yeah, I think Boise State has a couple comps that come out for each of the different maps on the Paul. You have the Symmetra on Shrine, I think. And that's really powerful if you can take control of point. It makes it really hard for the enemy team to fight on point, giving you just so much point pressure. Yeah, on this map, it looks like they're coming out with the Mei.
So both teams going to have that Mei, so we'll see if either of those Reinhardt's going to get caught on the wrong side of the wall. We do see badges on that Symmetra. Interesting to note that neither team really made it to the point quicker, so we'll see how long he's going to stay on that. As Tom's going to be taken low on that Diva, so is Frags, but for now Boise State's going to hold. They are going to be forced to bait out an Immortality Field from Asu. There's the Immortality Field from Frags, but it's not going to land on the badges, and Boise State gets the first elimination, but Nomer, it will take down Walk, and there's no main tank for the side of Boise State. And this should allow Waterloo to push towards the point, and that's exactly what the Warriors will do. Flashbang 2 in the head onto Nomer, and a Deadeye's already online. Bang, bang, bang goes Plato, and he's continuing his hot start from our game against NYU. Just give this man ICCU player of the game already, as he's hard carrying Boise State.
That fight was really interesting. Neither of the Meis were able to actually get a wall to split off an enemy team member. But Plato was able to just put out enough damage, and the sustain from Waterloo was really great. But unfortunately, that sustain let Plato just pummel so much damage into him, he built his ultimate absurdly quickly. And Waterloo just didn't expect it.
Yeah, Waterloo did not expect the aggro Deadeye, also 2 in the head into Nomer before he could cryo freeze. There's an Ant Matrix up for Asu. It's the only ult in the game. He's going to throw it down right away. Nice line of sight there for Waterloo, but Frags is going to get picked off right around the corner by Guac's Flame Strike. That's going to send the Warriors retreating. The Mei wall just cuts off Boise State. Looks like it's also going to trap Waterloo in a very precarious position. Kell's going to be able to pick up one more. ATT gets stuck barely on the wrong side of the wall. And Boise State's going to send Waterloo retreating.
And that Immortality was key in keeping Guac alive during that. But Boise State has played very, very carefully to avoid that Mei wall. It hasn't got as much value as I would have liked of the Mei wall from Boise State, but they've been being able to frag out into the darkness.
A huge pick onto a large Bagel who was very close to that sound barrier. You're going to see the Deadeye shatter and the Blizzard come out. Immortality Field is going to be used to keep everyone alive. There's a sound barrier for ATT. Multiple freezes come out, but Boise State can't work through the sound barrier. Now they can, as they'll take down Bard. Looking for what more. ATT, the next elimination. Guac incredibly low. Gonna throw up that shield. He will survive. Frag gets taken out. Tom taken out of the mech, and he'll just suicide so Boise State can't stagger him. And Boise State uses that ult advantage perfectly. They get the sound barrier and the shatter, but you see there's 4 more on the side of Waterloo.
And none of the ultimates that Boise State used during that fight really got any value. But what they did was just split Waterloo, and as soon as they were split, Boise State was able to punish them. They got eliminations on the members that had ultimates, so they essentially nullified Waterloo's ult economy.
And Matrix comes down. Great wall there from Nomer. Going to block out that damage. Ton of ults available for Waterloo. They're going to throw down the Ant Matrix and the Blizzard to start. B-Bomb's going to come out from Tom, but it's not going to find anything. Now Boise State, or they're content to just allow the Warriors to flip the point. Plenty of time for the Broncos to play with. Still a Deadeye on the side of Waterloo as Plato's going to drop his own. Great Maywall will come out there. He's not able to find anything. Badge is now going to throw out his own Deadeye. Plato looking for the flashbang, can't find it. Badge is not going to find any eliminations. There's a sound barrier from a large bagel. Lands onto everyone but Goblin. Plato forced to roll away. Immortality Field will come out from Frags. Boise State's able to take it down, but Guac caught on the wrong side of the Maywall. We'll get that wall-in ball that we've seen Boise State use time and time again. A deep bump from Kel finds nothing. Huge two-man chatter for Bard. Is going to take out a couple of members of Boise State. Now the Broncos forced for a retreat there.
That fight lasted so long. Waterloo was able to take the point and get to 50% before the fight actually was won or lost. So Boise State should have just taken a faster engagement, and even if they lost the fight, they would have been able to already have had a second fight coming into this. And then Plato unfortunately just missed a few of the shots. So otherwise, that flank that he pulled out might have won him the fight. We'll see if he can get a couple headshots during this next fight.
Nomer had a great Maywall there to cut off the Deadeye. They're going into a sound barrier for ATT as well as an Ant Matrix for Frags up on that high ground. Maywall from Goblin, probably not the angle they wanted. Deadeye comes out from Plato. There's an Ant Matrix for Boise State of their own. Blizzard's going to come out from nowhere, but he's going to be taken out at the same time. Sound barrier for ATT will land. And now we're going to see Badges pop his own Deadeye. Boise State should be able to line aside this great flashbang. Actually, the flashbang each other. Shatter comes out only onto ATT. There's an Immortality Field from Frags. Boise State able to burn that one down rather quickly. Doc's pretty careful. He's got a McCree to his left side. His Badges won that battle of the McCrees. It's enough to distract Guac, so Bard takes him down, and now Waterloo's going to be able to flip this point. I don't think there's anything Boise State can do. Goblin can contest. He's trying to buy as much time for Boise State. He just gets burned down, and in overtime, Waterloo's going to come out with a great come from behind victory there on our first map.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what went wrong for Boise State. They played that first fight remarkably well. They took points super fast, but Waterloo was able to quickly rotate, get to point, and just hold point as hard as they can. And Boise State just wasn't able to push into it with the Maywall, with the ults that Waterloo was able to put out to just keep Boise State from contesting point. And Boise State just couldn't deal with that pressure.
Somebody in the spirit of March just made a downtown bucket in the spawn. Don't know which team it was. Heard the celebration go off. But yeah, I think the issue was Waterloo had 4 ults. Boise State was up 99% to 16 and conceded, okay, we'll give you the point on the 4 ults. And then as you mentioned, they recontested the fight and it just took so long. By the time Boise State got back, the point was already at 60%.
Yeah, Boise State needed to take quicker fights. Their fights were so drawn out that Waterloo got so much percentage for free.
It ain't broke, don't fix it. Waterloo's not going to change a thing. Boise State going to put Goblin on that Torbjorn. It's something he plays incredibly well. See if he can find a flank with some of those turrets. As right now, the team's playing a game of cat and mouse as the Warriors going to push into Boise State. Still got to watch out for that main wall from the side of Nomer. He hit a couple of big ones that caught out Boise State's tanks. They're going to get another one right there. Guac's going to get caught out. Bard will be stunned, though. Boise State's able to keep their Ryan alive. Immortality Field comes down from Frags. Kel dropping low, and Immortality Field comes out from AC, but it's immediately burned down. Guac gets the first elimination. Frags going to fall off the edge. And Boise State up 2 as Kel only lost the mech form. Great Maywall there from Nomer to burn out time. Frags actually got the Ant Matrix down as he fell off. But another self-destruct proves just too costly for the other team to overcome, and Boise State takes complete advantage.
And Boise State's comp is very much around having space and melting the enemy team if they try to engage onto you, whereas Waterloo has that May and they want to isolate someone. Boise State was just able to kite long enough to take the advantage of that long-range engagement. Coming into this next fight, Boise State does have a few ultimates they can use, whereas Waterloo has none, so I would be very surprised if Boise State lost this next fight.
I would have loved to have seen what happened to Frags there. It did not look like it was a boot from a large bagel. No one got credit for the kill. It simply showed he fell off the edge right after that Ant Matrix went down. Once again, Boise State, bit of cat and mouse. They'll force Waterloo to chase him around the map. All it's doing right now, gaining percent. There's a Ant Matrix. Maywall comes down perfectly from Nomer to stop most of that bonus damage. It looks like you got a flank over to the right side from Badges. Boise State looked like they saw him for a brief moment. And now everyone's going to fall back. Tom sees the perfect time. He's going to jump right out of the point. Bolton Core is going to come out as well as a Deadeye, but a great flashbang on the flank from Badges. Able to take down Plato. Goblin gets 1. Now Boise State's going to clean up shop here. They'll take down 3. should be able to clean it up. As ATT, Frags, and Tom are all very low. ATT the only one alive. He'll just jump off the edge, and Boise State wins that one rather cleanly. But a great flank by Badges, and something Boise State's got to watch out for.
Yeah, Boise State has been consistently just playing together, playing. They know their win condition, and they just play to that. Whereas Waterloo, I feel like Waterloo just doesn't entirely know how to play against this Boise State comp. They're trying to take all these hard engages, and Boise State's just peeling back, just staying away, just taking the distance, taking the long-range engagement, and they're coming out on top every time.
And Matrix comes out for Frags as well as the Deadeye, and Boise State's just going to line of sight it. Point is going to flip to the advantage of Waterloo, but it's going to come at the cost of their support as Frags is taken out. Shatter's going to land just on DeKel. Ace who throws down that Immortality field. Goblin looking for a flank here. He's going to find it. A sound barrier comes out from a large bagel, but it's not enough to keep Guac alive. Badges has been taken out, but Boise State's going right into all of this damage for Waterloo. Demon Bomb only gets one for Kel. Molten Core from Goblin's going to come out on the flank. We'll see if he's able to pick up anything. The answer appears to be no, but for now he's at least trying to capture the point. Will be contested now, and it's a very poorly positioned fight for Boise State, but the Broncos still on it. Goblin's able to keep him alive. There's an Ant-Matrix Mason who's going to come out. Shatter from Bard once again will be used. He's not able to find anything as Guac does get taken out there. Tom incredibly low, forced out of the mech. Baby Diva form activated. We'll see if Boise State's able to take him out. Badge is now on that Torbjorn, immediately burned down. Boise State's very close to flipping this point. Should be able to get it, and they'll do just that.
Yeah, that's because Boise State was taking a very long engagement. That fight lasted so long, the Waterloo got 60% on the point. But at least this map, Boise State was able to win the fight in the end, making it sort of worth it.
Fortunately, looks like Bard actually sort of C9'd his own team. He jumped off of the platform there on the Wrecking Ball just enough for Boise State to be able to capture that one, and we'll go to map number 3, tied at 1 aside. I'll be curious to see, because right now Captain Star feels like from 0 to 90, Boise State is very dominant, and then Waterloo's final contest somehow flips the point, and it takes Boise State an incredibly long amount of time to get back in charge.
Yeah, Boise State has been consistently winning that first fight and is holding it, and as soon as Waterloo is able to take control of point, Boise State just hasn't been able to push into them. This map, I'm curious to see if that's going to stay the same, because Boise State does have that Symmetra, which they do really like that Symmetra on this point, specifically because they can take control of the point itself and all the Symmetra turrets. And we'll see which Symmetra wins.
Badges on that Symmetra. Looks like Waterloo beat Boise State to the point by probably a mere inch or two. Maywall is going to come down, but most Boise State is on the correct side. Teams will exchange damage. Immortality Vehicle Frags, the first defensive cooldown, going to be blown on the side of the Warriors. Boise State will burn through that one rather quickly. Take care of all that Symmetric turrets Badges wants to put down. Bard's already fall. There's an Ant Matrix from Frags that will come out. Goblin looking for a flank. Frags going to be taken out there. Photon Barrier committed by Goblin just to keep the team nice and healthy. Nomer will fall as well. And Boise State, their Symmetric turrets lasted the longest, and they were able to pick up that first fight win.
Yeah, Boise State, I think Boise State won that because at the very beginning of the fight, you saw Nomer put down a wall, but Waterloo was not able to actually follow up on that wall. They weren't able to get any value off of it. And as soon as you don't get value out of your May wall, then Boise State has just more damage since they brought out that McCree. And the more damage, if played well, will just give them the win.
It's been a tough task for Plato as Waterloo's going to swap not only to the Pharmacy, they're also going to bring out the Echo as well. So a pair of aerial heroes that Boise State has to deal with. And Nomer gets the first pick, taking down Plato. Immortality Field does come down from Frags as an Ant Matrix is the response from Asu. Boise State has not found a single kill. Instead, just becoming alt batteries for the side of Waterloo as the Warriors able to pick up the entire team. Asu the last one to fall, and they'll flip the point at 45%.
Yeah, Badges just swapped to Farah and already has that barrage. I think Waterloo analyzed what Boise State was doing, and you know what they don't have a counter for? Aerial hit scan or aerial characters. They just pulled out as much air plays as they can, and they just pummeled so much damage that Plato just fell to it.
Plato's got the Deadeye. There's a grab up for Kel. See if he's able to trap any of them. There's the Deadeye that comes out to get it perfectly onto ATT. The biggest target is now there's no Mercy Res available. Rocket Barrage for Badge is able to pick up 3, and he stays alive. A grab does come out from Kel, but it's too little too late for Boise State. All the Broncos able to pick up are frags, and a huge Rocket Barrage there for Badges is the difference. Not only did he get a triple kill, he stayed alive, which is usually the hardest thing a Farah has to do.
Yeah, I think Boise State just didn't expect the quick barrage that Badgers was able to build. And now Boise State is coming into this with an ult disadvantage. They don't have very much to work with. Waterloo is already at 50%.
Multiple ults up for the Warriors. There's the Ant Matrix going to come down. Plato drops incredibly low. There's a Diva Bomb from Tom that will come out as well. It's going to nearly break the shield for Guac. He's trying to let it recharge. There's a duplicate from Nomer onto that Lucio. Badgers gets one. A pulse bomb onto Frags. Even stuff at one aside. There's a huge shatter that comes down from Bard. Mercerez has come out. There's a sound barrier from Nomer. Shatter from Guac's going to land onto 3. Should buy Boise State some time. The duplicate will fade. Immortality Field's going to keep him alive. Valkyrie is committed. And a great duplicate for the sound barrier from Waterloo is going to put Boise State on the final fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, Boise State just doesn't have the tools to deal with all the aerial heroes that Waterloo has pulled out. The Pharah and just isn't being contested. I don't think I've seen Pharah die a single time. Same thing with Echo. They just play far enough away at these weird angles to just spam damage at Boise State, and they just pick Boise State apart.
Comes out from ASU. Boise State's got to stay alive here in overtime. There's a pick onto Badges. Goblin will be taken out, so it's a 1-for-1. They're probably trying to find a res for ATT. There's an Ant Matrix going to come out from Frags, but Bard will be taken out. Frags goes down as well. Plato's put on his carry backpack once again when Boise State needs it most. Takes down Nomer with an assist from Kel. Should be enough for Boise State. Great flashbang going to land onto Tom. The Broncos are going to be able to flip this point into overtime. Give themselves a fighting chance.
And Plato was able to keep a hold of that Deadeye through that whole fight. He saved it. So now coming to this next fight, when Waterloo tries to hit the Pharah to get into an aggressive position, or the Echo to try to fly up in the air to get an angle, that Deadeye can shut that down really quick.
3 ults on the side of Waterloo. They've got the Valkyrie, the Rocket Barrage, and the Shatter. Boise State's got the Diva Bomb and the Deadeye, and they've got a Pulse Bomb right around the corner. The minefield on the way as well as Guac goes slamming down into the back line. A large bagel, the first elimination. Valkyrie is committed. There's the Deadeye. They'll take down Frags. Badger taken out as well. 2-man Shatter does land. They'll get the revive from ATT. But Guac's able to stay alive. Frags comes back to life, but there's no Rocket Barrage that comes out. Duplicate's alive for Nomer if he wants to commit it. ATT caught with nowhere to go. Finally able to teleport away as Nomer's going to drop that Duplicate onto the Diva. Wants to find a Diva Bomb onto something. ATT barely surviving, taken out by the minefield by Guac. And Boise State looks like they've barely been able to hang on as Badges raced back in and just died once again. Just like that, Boise State's at 99%, and it's Waterloo on the back edge. They're already down 2, make it 3. ATT swapped over to that Lucio. Not going to get that sound barrier in time. Tom, the next one, he'll use the Diva Bomb just to reset his HP. Badges finally comes flying in, has the Rocket Barrage available. Boise State's got to be careful for that. Rocket Barrage committed, but he dies before any of the bullets come out to ASU. And this has absolutely become a slaughter fest right on top of the point. Great Pulse Bomb there from Goblin's going to take Tom. And Boise State's going to come from behind, win the map and the round. And my goodness, those final 20 seconds were absolute chaos.
That was one of the most interesting fights I've seen in a while. Boise State just didn't have an answer for the Pharah and Echo. But as soon as we took point, we controlled space. More importantly, we were able to get Plato into key positions, and he was able to deal with them. But getting that space took way longer than I would have liked to see.
Don't forget, Boise State Esports is always looking for talented players, production and broadcast talent. Top talent, along with good grades and eligibility, can earn you scholarships as well. Sign up today by visiting boisestate.edu/esports for more information. We're heading on to map number 2. Hybrid is the map of choice. We'll see what it is going to be. Most likely Kings Row is the favorite, but we've seen teams that sometimes deviate away from that. But, I mean, Boise State, I mean, you're right. They had no answer for the Echo and the Pharah until Plato was like, I'm tired of dying. Absolutely pops off in overtime to get the Boise State the point. And then Badgers just kind of inted and died 3 times with the Rocket Barrage and got 0 kills with it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Pharah is not known for, is getting value from Barrage. She definitely can, and that first one was so unexpected that they got so much value they won the fight off of that Barrage. But after that, Boise State was expecting it. They figured out how the Pharah liked to play, and they were able to shut down those angles.
Boise State and Waterloo getting ready for game number 2. Here it is, Kings Row. We'll see if the Warriors are able to mount a comeback and send us to a map number 3. As we mentioned, Boise State number 9 in the most recent coaches poll. Waterloo, a lot of people thought could be a top 10 team. They're knocking on the door. And an upset here might put them in next week's poll, and that's probably what's on their mind. They'll get ready to attack first. Waterloo in the blue, Boise State in the red. We'll see in this match of very evenly matched teams who comes out on top.
Yeah, and Boise State is on the red side this time, but they've brought out a they swapped it to a brawl comp. Okay, they started with a dive and they decided it's not going to work. Let's just go back to something we know a little bit better, which is Reinhardt Diva.
You see the Reinhardt Diva also on the side of Waterloo. Everything pretty much the same. The lone difference right now is that Widowmaker on the side of Boise State versus May. And Nomer has played that May incredibly well. As Goblin, who is hiding out in spawn, is actually the first elimination. Tom's going to get a headshot onto him. Boise State's now going to jump right onto the point. They think they have Waterloo sandwich. Great immortality field from Frags. Immediately gets taken out. Plato with the great flank. He's going to take down Frags. Great Maywall cuts him off and the rest of the team. Crowd Freeze comes out to keep Nomer alive. But Waterloo's heading in the wrong direction. Plato already has that Deadeye. You see Badges going for the flank there. Boise State's going to be able to pick him off. They're going to be able to get that payload with relative ease.
Yeah, this is basically a mirror matchup. The only difference is Goblin on that Widowmaker and Nomer on the May. And again, I think Boise State is just playing around that May wall so well that they're not able to get value. And Goblin being able to just put damage on with that Widow, and they'll soon be doing that on the Echo.
Badges for a brief moment debated the Junkrat. We'll go back to the McCree. We'll reset that Deadeye. That was about 40%. Speaking of Deadeye, Plato has his available. Asu just burning that Immortality, or the Ant Matrix for nothing. There's a Deadeye that will come out. Great Maywall. Going to be dropped there from Nomer. Goblin now has decided on the May. Ant Matrix from Frag is going to come out. Flashbang lands on the Bard. Shatter will go flying past. Now Boise State wants to turn it on them. Shadow's going to land on the Tom. Sound Barrier comes out from ATT. Blizzard will come out as well. Boise State going to be forced just to simply disengage here. An Immortality field from Asu will barely keep Goblin alive. He's able to stay there. Guac gets caught on the wrong side of the wall, but also survives. Frag's Immortality field kind of wasted there. Everyone at Waterloo full health. Badges and ATT going to pick up a pair of kills. Teleports out of that mech. The fight starts great for Boise State, but eventually comes all falling apart.
Yeah, Boise State decided to take the mirror matchup. Like every single champion or hero, as they're called in Overwatch, are the exact same. Waterloo was able to just use their abilities a little bit more effectively. They were able to absolutely shut down the High Noon, but Plato has since built that up yet again.
And they did have the Sound Barrier and the Blizzard available. They also used the Shatter, but Bard's already back up to 70%. Plato's going to drop a Deadeye. Able to find anything. Badges will now drop his own, and Boise State will retreat. And Matrix with Asu just going to be burned out there by the side of Waterloo. Frags has his own that Boise State will have to push into. Waiting for him to drop it. There it is. Deep bump from Kel's going to go in on the back line. Large Bagel waiting for that Sound Barrier to commit. Immortality field from Frags has come down. There it is. Two-man Shatter lands, but right into the Sound Barrier. Great timing for a Large Bagel as Plato picks up that first kill. Tom still has the Diva Bomb. ATT is going to take down Plato. Large Bagel trying to move somebody back into his team. Blizzard from Goblin comes out. It freezes Tom, but Boise State can't find an elimination. Baby Diva is out, and he'll use the ult just to remech, and Boise State's forced to retreat there as that Blizzard goes nowhere. Shatter from Guac, though, lands onto all 6 members of Waterloo. They weren't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it either. And Boise State gets a 4K off of it, make it 5. Bard puts the shield down, and Guac just comes slamming home.
These fights are so even, and then that Shatter just turned the momentum all around. Boise State was losing that fight, and then Guackers found the perfect opportunity and just capitalized.
Yeah, the May wall went up. I think Waterloo expected to disengage while Boise State waited for Goblin to cut back. He has swapped over to that Junkrat, and so is Badges. Multiple ups on the side of the Warriors, and they'll try for a final recontest here on point number 2 with 2.5 seconds, 2.5 minutes on the clock. Freeze on Blizzard's going to land just on the Guac. He should be able to get out of it, and he will. ATT is going to commit the Sound Barrier. Boise State's just going to run for the hills. They'll lose the Ant Matrix and Goblin and Asu as well. Kel's forced out of the mech. It's going to cost 3 ults to the side of Waterloo, and Boise State's just going to let that one happen.
Yeah, I think Boise State knew they just didn't have the ultimates to properly fight that, so they decided, let's just use the Ant Matrix. Just bait out as many ultimates from Waterloo as we possibly can. And then we'll come into this with multiple ultimates, and hopefully that will give them the advantage they need to take the fight. Boise State is coming into this with soon to be 4 ultimates as soon as Bagel builds his beat. And Waterloo just doesn't seem like they're going to have anything to respond to that.
Depending on how well Badges is able to put some chip damage on, they might have the Rip Tire. Goblin working on his as well. It's about 9% behind. And Matrix going to come down from Bragg. Boise State will simply retreat. They'll let that one burn out. Waterloo waiting for it.
But now Waterloo has no ultimates, and Boise State is going to be pressing the go button really soon.
Maywall's going to catch the tanks for Boise State on the wrong side of the wall. Plato and ATT will be traded out. Immortality field from Braggs comes down in the Riptire from Goblin. He gets it first. He picks up a triple kill. They'll lose him in the process, but they don't care. They're going to run down Tom. Kel already flanking with a great job hopping onto that payload to immediately start pushing it. And Goblin this time with the flashy ult allows Boise State to cap point number 2.
Yeah, that ultimate was key for Boise State winning that fight. Boise State did have the ultimate advantage, but they weren't able to win the dry-ish fight, so they just needed that extra to capitalize and get the 3K off that tire.
Badge is sitting on a Riptire of his own. See how he's willing to commit it. There's an Ant Matrix and a sound barrier up. There is the Riptire. Looks like it's chasing after Asu on the front line. And it's able to take him out. Boise State's probably going to retreat here. Cal will find that healing pack. Maywall not quite able to cut off the Boise State tanks. They're just going to allow Asu to respawn. He'll come back ready to go with that Ant Matrix on them.
I'm very happy to see Goblin swapping to another champion. It means that the Boise State is willing to change their composition to what will work better, despite maybe losing an ultimate, a little bit of an ultimate charge.
Pair of Diva bombs go out. A shatter from Bard's only going to land on to Kel. Both teams down 2. But Waterloo's going to have the closer respawn, which makes it harder for Boise State to push. Nomer will be taken out, so will Bard. And this should allow Boise State to at least get around this first corner. They'll fan the hammer onto the mech. Tom left alive, and Boise State will eventually take out the baby Diva. Now they're going to try to find a pick onto ATT and not clue why he was there. That's going to open up Boise State for even more of a push.
This is an interesting pick. Badgers decided to go with Bastion, but Boise State has this Hanzo who can take these off angles here and should be able to shut this Bastion down with relative ease.
Deadeye comes out, line of sight comes out from Waterloo. It'll be wasted there. Shatter from Guac, only going to land on Tom. Ant Matrix going to come down from both teams. There's a sound barrier from a large bagel and from ATT. The Dragon Strike for a Blizzard, and everyone's able to stay alive. See, Boise State's just going to retreat. Health bar is about the same across the board. Franks has now dropped down his Immortality field, but Tom's taken out of the mech, and it can't keep him alive. Now they'll lose the Immortality field. Badge is getting taken down, as you called Captain Star. It's Goblin who gets him down with that Hanzo. Fortunately, they will lose Guac in the process. Shatter for Bard, not able to find anything. The respawn advantage for Waterloo right now just proving to be just a bit too strong.
Yeah, that May is able to catch people off on the front line so well, and Boise State, they're swapping their Reinhardt to this ball, so they're trying to deny this May as much value as possible, and hopefully that will allow them to win this next fight because they're running out of time.
And overtime, here comes Wrecking Ball, able to not only keep the point alive, but get a great pick onto ATT. He'll trade out his life for it, though. Plato's going to pop the Deadeye. Badges and Guac will both be taken out. I don't really know who Plato's looking for. I guess he was expecting a flank. He'll turn around and headshot Frag just to make sure. Cal picks up one with the Diva Bomb. Tom's going to throw down his own Diva Bomb. Plato barely gets around the corner. Large Bagel does not, but Goblin's going to take out the Diva before she can remech. Bard falls as well. There's a Dragon Strike that will come through. And in overtime, like we saw against NYU in the final seconds, Boise State looks like they might be primed to capture this point. Nomer taken out now on that Doomfist. Another headshot onto Frags, right to that Ant Matrix. Waterloo just throwing themselves at Boise State. They're not able to respawn as a team. Tom taken out. Bard will come charging in, and Bard will go charging back in to spawn. And Boise State in overtime, able to clutch it up, and they'll 3-cap Waterloo.
It wasn't the fastest time that we've seen here, but they did counter pick. They figured out what the weakness for Waterloo was, and they used that weakness against them.
Waterloo, it's Boise State blue, map number 2 in ABC. Boise State leading this best-of-3 series, 1-0. Potentially 4 minutes away from wrapping up the series with their second win of the night in the ABC regular season. We'll see what Waterloo has in response, but I think a lot of the pressure is going to be on Nomer, who has been absolutely incredible on that May so far.
Yeah, I think May has been the win condition for Waterloo for most of these games. But Boise State, the comp they traditionally run on defense here, doesn't rely on taking a frontline fight, so Waterloo might have a really hard time getting value off of that May here.
Yeah, we saw this exact comp in the Broncos matchup against NYU. Captain Sar mentioned Guac's going to sit on the point with that buff fortified. He's going to be the point holder. The rest of Boise State's going to be flanking around that high ground, and the only way to break it reliably, unless you get a pick, is to go all the way around through the arches and then back in the other side, which at times, if you're deliberate enough, can take a minute to 2.5 minutes off the clock. It could leave Waterloo in one last fight territory, so we'll see what the Warriors have up their sleeves here as our map number 2, round 2 is going to kick off.
Yeah, potentially Waterloo could just decide to just go to the point and try to take a hard fight there, but Boise State has just so much damage with the Hanzo Torbjorn that they can just punish any small positioning mistakes from Waterloo.
Waterloo's going to split up. Badges is looking for a flank onto that Torbjorn. He's not going to find it. So he's going to find a Hanzo right in his face. He's going to be forced to jump off there. Ooh, can't quite find the headshot for Goblin. The Warriors have pushed all the way around, 45 seconds into this round 2.
And this is the game that we've seen every single time Boise State's on defense on Kings Row. They just ring around the rosy with Waterloo, and as long as they don't take a head-up engagement, it gives the DPS for Boise State time to just whittle down and potentially just get a pick on the background, which is what Boise State is aiming for.
Well, there's that first pick, a headshot onto ATT. He's going to shut things down there. Great halt. Going to put them all together. Badge just guns down Plato. He wasn't looking for him. Both teams down a DPS. Bard will fall now. Badge is going to be forced to raise form away. Frag's taken out. Boise State looks like the defense for now has hold. There's that raise form from Badge. It's barely surviving at 1 HP. Tom forced out of the mech, and that fight took Waterloo nearly a minute and a half. And all they got for it was 1 kill onto Goblin. Or onto Plato, excuse me.
Yeah, this comp from Boise State is just the trolliest comp I've seen in a while. They just don't ever take a fight. And it's so hard to play against.
Dragon Strike will come in front of the side of Waterloo. Have now hopped all on top of that point, but Asu gonna do a little of his DPS show off there. It's a 4K for the man. Make it 5. There it is. Asu absolutely popping off. Gets the 5K. Who needs a DPS when your support can get 5 kills?
Asu did used to play DPS for Boise State. He's showing those skills here. Baptiste is one of those supports that is very close to a DPS.
Yeah, you throw down the Ant Matrix, you ignore your healing abilities, and you just left-click through them. Any FPS game will tell you 3-round burst guns are the most broken thing in the game. You get that Molten Core and a Supercharger for Boise State. Great Naywall is going to keep Plato out of the fight. Nomer is going to play down the Blizzard, but he will be eaten, will be taken out. Boise State's just going to run through the side of Waterloo, and the Warriors now with only a minute and a half left. They did get a couple of eliminations out of the Boise State. ATT throws down the Desperation Sound Barrier. Kel going to throw out the Diva Bomb, not able to find it. That Sound Barrier wasted from ATT could be huge in our next fight.
Yeah. Out of all the teams I've seen trying to deal with this comp, I don't think any of them have found a sufficient answer. They all try to ring around the rosy, but by the time they actually do that first fight, so much time has been wasted. And Boise State has their ult economy up and running. And Boise State, one of the best parts about Boise State is they are really good about managing that ult economy.
Sound Barrier available for a large bagel. He's just hiding out. Gonna boot Tom off the edge, but he'll use the rocket boosters to get back on top. Dragon Strike from Goblin's gonna rip right through the team though. He'll pick up 2. Plato gets 1 more. Plato gets taken out. Goblin will be taken out as well, but Nomer will fall. There's 30 seconds left. There's 2 members of Waterloo left alive. Trying to get a stagger onto one of them. A large bagel gets caught out though, and this could be a chance for Waterloo.
Yeah, Boise State was just a little bit too aggressive trying to get that stagger. It's never a good idea to overextend, but sometimes it can be just too enticing.
Good news is, if there's any hero who can get back fast, it's that Lucio, but now Asu is down. Golden Core is going to be committed there by Plato. There's no ults available. Sound Barrier will come out as soon as the large bagel gets in range. It'll land onto everyone. The tanks, though, are incredibly low. Guac taken out. Kel forced out of the mech. Large bagel and Goblin both able to pick up a kill, though. Bard is incredibly low, so is Tom. He'll get forced out of the mech, and Boise State should be able to sustain besides the slight misplay. There's the Dragon Strike just to rip through the remaining members. Bad just can't get there in time, and Boise State, much like against NYU, sloppy at times, but they still pull off the 2-0 victory in ABC.
Yeah, it was watching Boise State play that comp on defense. It's so infuriating to watch because you just never have a fight. You just kite and kite, and as soon as there's a fight breaks out, you already have ultimates. You've hopefully gotten a pick or two, and you just use that to win. And once you win, you've got your ult economy going. Your Hanzo, if they ever try to go up in that walkway, up on the high ground, as you saw, that Dragon Strike just wipes out the team.
Don't forget, the Idaho Army National Guard is a proud supporter of Boise State esports. The top plays that we see at the end of every match are presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Boise State back with their 2-0 night here in ABC, but we are not done. We still have plenty of matches left. But before we get to that, any final thoughts, Captain Star, on Boise State's double win here, first over NYU, then over Waterloo, both in a 2-0 fashion?
They weren't perfect games, but they were very clean overall. I'm very happy with our performance. We've figured out the comps we need to win, and we figured out the win conditions and how to play towards that. And that is the most important thing about Overwatch, is just figuring out what you need to do. And once you know that, actually doing it is relatively trivial.
Boise State blue team holding serve, but they are not done yet. We'll wrap things up in the ABC form with our top 5 plays. God will probably watch out for the Asu 5K, the 5-man Dragon Strike, the 6-man Shatter. All of those are going to be very, very highly anticipated, and we'll see who is going to get that top spot. But as we mentioned, we are not done yet. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with a very anticipated matchup between Boise State and Full Sail. Make sure you're following the Boise State Twitch page so you know whenever we go live, but don't go anywhere. It's our top 5 plays presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, and we'll be back with more Overwatch. Tally field from Frags. Immediately gets taken out. Plato with the great flank. He's going to take down Frag. Great Maywall cuts him off, and the rest of the team. Crowd Freeze comes out to keep Nomer alive. But Waterloo's heading in the wrong direction. Plato already has that Deadeye. You see Badges going for the flank there. Boise State's going to be able to pick him off. They're going to be able to get that payload with relative ease. Burn through that one rather quickly. Takes care of all that Courage Badge wants to put down. Bard's already fallen. There's an Ant Matrix for Frags who will come out. Goblin looking for a flank. Frag's going to be taken out there. Photon Barrier committed by Goblin just to keep the team nice and healthy. Nomer will fall as well. Boise State, their symmetric turrets lasted the longest, and they were able to pick up that first fight win. To the wall, Plato and ATT will be traded out. Immortality field from Frags comes down, and the Riptide from Goblin. He gets it first. He picks up a triple kill. They'll lose him in the process, but they don't care. They're going to run down Tom. Kel already flanking with a great job hopping onto that payload to immediately start pushing it. And Goblin this time with the flashy ult allows Boise State to cap point number 2. Dragon Strike will come in front of the side of Waterloo, of now all on top of that point. But Asu going to do a little of his DPS show off there. It's a 4K for the man. Make it 5. There it is. Asu absolutely popping off. Gets the 5K. Who needs a DPS when your support can get 5 kills?
Asu.
Eva is out. He'll use the ult just to remech, and Boise State's forced to retreat there as that blizzard goes nowhere. Shatter from Guacto lands on all 6 members of Waterloo. They weren't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it either. And Boise State gets a 4K off of it. Make it 5. Bard puts the shield down, and Guac just comes slamming home.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure. legendary parts for legendary wins.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We've already seen the Broncos go 2-0 in ABC, and now it's time for our new tournament. It's time for the Broncos' stream debut this semester in Play Versus, as Boise State will be taking on Full Sail University. I'm still Michael Fisher, still joined by David Captain Star Vogel, and this one a bit more interesting. We usually are used to Captain Star, the blue team, and the orange team. Now this is just Boise State. Every single member of the blue and orange team is available on the roster for Play Versus. Boise State makes the decision based on opponent, availability, etc., who's going to be in the lineup. So we will see kind of like the Boise State Blorange team, if you will, coming out every single time. So how do you think these are going to mesh? Because, I mean, they're players you probably practice with. They're maybe players you've done VOD review with, but they're probably not always players you've solo queued with. They're definitely not players you played in competitive environments with. So how do you think Boise State will react to maybe different communication styles? You might have two in-game leaders both on the same team. I think Boise State's going to react to this sort of mishmash squad we're going to see here in Playverse.
Well, one of the most important things you can do is scout, and once you figure out how your opponents like to play, since we have our entire roster available that we can sub in here, we can pick and choose who we think playstyle will work the best to counter our opponents. So it's very important to, like, again, the scouting is very important now that you have the flexibility to pick and choose who you want to play. But in addition to that, it's a good practice experience to have all of these different players play together, because normally you play on your own separate squad of like 6, 7 people with like a sub. And once you start opening that up and you can play with more, all the little lessons that each team learns, you can kind of spread that knowledge around, where when you practice with your 6 or 7 group or player group, you just kind of get hard stuck in your ways, kind of. And once you can open that up, you can learn new lessons, and learning is always a good thing.
Yeah, we also will go back to the more traditional Overwatch format. We've gone from best of 3 to best of 5. So it is going to be a bit of a potential longer match. We could see 3, we could see 5. We'll get back to CP and Control not played. I know every Overwatch player loves 2 CP. They love it so much, Blizzard's getting rid of it in Overwatch 2. So we'll see if it makes any sort of appearance here. But I do think the interesting thing for me is the blue team feels, I don't want to say on the cutting edge of the meta, but they feel like when the meta shifts, they're right on top of it. They're on top of the double bubble. The orange team, from what we've seen in NECC, has kind of lagged behind. They're a lot more comfort picks. We've seen Frost, for example, bring out the Sombra time and time again. So that's going to be a lot of pressure on the Boise State coaches to be, okay, how do we pair this team together, and how do we not get stuck with, maybe Frost is on a Sombra, and then we just have a bunch of players on comfort picks that don't support that Sombra. So that's something that I want to keep an eye out for. Of course, with Overwatch, to get Doc's keys to the game, we always talk about never take a fair fight. What does it mean? Take fights in unexpected places, when they are unprepared, and when you can have ability advantages. If Goblin, or maybe even Plato, from what we saw today earlier, is on this team, you better watch out, because they have loved those sneaky flanks, and they have pulled them off usually to great success. It's all brought to you by Count, whose Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. They also have quick and accurate identity trust decisions to help deliver safe payments. If you want to stay safe online, go check them out at count.com, KOUNT.com. It's Boise State. It's Full Sail University. It's Play Versus Best of 5. The whole roster is available for Boise State. And I'm really curious to see, one, who comes out in the starting lineup. And since it's a best of 5, I don't know what the sub rules are. I mean, you could, for Boise State, you could mix and match almost every single game at this point.
Yeah, you could have a full roster swap between maps if you wanted to. I think a lot of that's going to come down to figuring out what your opponent's play style is and trying to counter it. And once you see, oh, this player isn't working quite well, you can swap them out for someone else and keep going.
We are going to start off. So we've got Quenchable, Icy, Narbles, Modern Frost, Asu, and Pleb. Majority of the orange team with Asu in there, and the orange team starting off strong. They get a kill onto Zultient. Now they're going to get a kill onto Zazu. Cloak and Spark Shooter both dropping very, very low. And now Spark Shooter will go down, and Boise State with a great start. They'll even get miscanned as he tries to walk away.
Yeah, this Junkrat already has ult up after the first fight, looks like. And I think that Full Sail it's kind of hard to see because we joined in the middle of that fight. But they kind of walked into the Junkrat spam and didn't really work out for him. If they, you see.
So Riptire's not going to go anywhere, but I mean, this is what we've seen from time. Not so much recently for Boise State as the spectator opponents has gotten stronger, but right now we see Full Sail just kind of held in that spawn. They haven't been able to push through the spawn door. Narbles and Zazu both going to be taken out there. Shatter is going to whip, unfortunately, for Quidgible. It does look like Quidgible and Icy have actually swapped roles. They usually are main tank, off tank in reverse order for the orange team. They've traded up roles here. As an Matrix Soul Eater's going to come out. There is a Photon Barrier for Modern Frost just to reduce as much damage as possible. Immortality Field from Asu has been taken out, but the Kane going to go down. Soul Eater barely alive. Cloak dies with the Blizzard available. And unfortunately for Full Sail to get out of their spawn, they walk right into a host of laser beams from Modern Frost and friends and go right back to that spawn.
And Symmetra is so scary. Symmetra has insane damage output, but it's really squishy with almost no defensive options. So using that ult there to keep Symmetra alive, to allow that consistent damage to just melt the tank's DPS from Full Sail is a great option. And now Boise State, they'll have a few ultimates they can use here.
The grab is going to come out. The Kane drops the sound barrier, but it's only going to land onto a few members. A Blizzard and a Riptire do come out. Club will sound barrier in return, but the only thing the Riptire takes out is the Immortality Field for Asu. Boise State up at 80%. Full Sail trying to just find a way to break this Boise State hold.
And that was an unfortunate panic ultimate from the side of Cloak. That could have been used to knock Boise State out of their position, but was used after the fight was already lost, and it's just a feels bad moment at that point.
Marvel's holding on. Riptire is able to take out Zultan and the Immortality Field. The Photon Barrier comes out as well. There's not a contest in sight for Full Sail. Boise State's going to pick up map number 1 on Control.
This Junkrat has been nasty. Every time that Full Sail kind of groups up, there's always the Junkrat just spamming so much damage into him, making it really hard for the supports to keep them healthy. And Boise State is able to just leverage that damage to take the victory.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it. We've talked about it a lot, especially with Boise State's lose struggles in ABC. If you can win the first dry fight in Control, you're going to set yourself up for 2, 3, 4 fights to be able to just absolutely steamroll your opponent. This one's going to come down to between Narbles and Cloak. Who's going to be able to get the better symmetric teleporter off? Who gets it down faster? The team that does that probably going to be able to pick up the W.
Yeah, and the difference between these two teams, it seems to be Modern Frost has opted for a Mei, and Zazu has gone with the Junkrat. So Boise State can split the enemy team a lot easier, but Full Sail has just this broad damage output that they can take a better position.
Narbles able to get the first elimination on the Cloak. Ace will get one on to Zultan, and even though he missed the original teleporter, Boise State able to come through strong. They're only going to lose Narbles in the process, but that's going to be easy enough for a Symmetra to get back. And now we'll see how long Cloak wants to stay on that Symmetra as well as Narbles.
We were talking about the flanks coming out. I don't think either of us expected Symmetra to be flanking and get multiple kills off of it. That was fantastic.
Hey, take a unfair fight. Cat starts in. Docs keys to the game. Boise State proven they listened. We're going to see, unfortunately, no teleporter this time for Full Sail. Cloak has swapped off to the Echo. Maywald's going to cut them in half. Immortality Field from Soul Eater going to be put down. Will be taken out. Shadow take down Zazu. It'll stun up 2 more. Quidgible's got the triple kill. Modern Frost gets 1 more. Cloak, the last one left. Team kill for Boise State. That's much of the same for map number 1.
Yeah, Full Sail just kind of, they didn't have the damage. They didn't have the Junkrat providing enough damage. And that allowed Quidgible to just do insane amounts of damage with his hammer, and Full Sail just wasn't quite able to shut that down, and the damage just racked up too quickly.
Looks like we see an alternative route this time for Full Sail. They're going to walk right into an Ant Matrix. We know what Asu can do through one of those, but he'll be taken out by Zazu. Crowd freeze from Modern Frost will come out. Pleb is down as well. No supports alive for Boise State. They're still going to commit the Blizzard and the Photon Barrier. Don't know if that's the right call. They'll take down Zultan and Soul Eater. Spark Shooter will go down as well, so now there's no tanks alive to the side of Full Sail. Cloak's going to die to the Symmetric turret, and I guess I was the one who was wrong there. I thought the ults were wasted, but Boise State, who needs the support, they'll still win the fight.
I think Full Sail didn't really expect to win that fight, and they split up, and they got overconfident. And as soon as you got overconfident, the Blizzard was able to just catch them out, split them up even further, which allowed Boise State to just pick and shoot their targets way easier.
Yeah, it felt like they expected Boise State to kind of roll over and die after they lost their support. And that's not what happened. Ant Matrix will come down from Soul Eater. Great Blizzard or Maywall there from Modern Frost. Unfortunately, not communicated up with Pleb, who still commits to Sound Barrier. Mythic Kane now going to commit his own Sound Barrier. JC's Immortality Field will be taken out. Zulcan is still the first elimination. Cloak with the duplicate lands the Shatter. There is going to be a grab as well, but there's no response there for Boise State. Darbo still able to pick up the kill on a pair. Icy will be taken out. But Full Sail, unfortunately, just running out of resources in terms of raw manpower. This Cloak is the last one left alive on the point, trying to stall out as long as possible. Zazu and Zultan able to get back in there, but they're actually going to body block Zultan off the point. And despite that small misplay at the very end, Boise State comes out victorious and they'll win round number 1 and go up 1-0 in the series. Don't forget, the Idaho Army National Guard is a proud supporter of Boise State Esports. Top 5 plays you see at the end of every match are brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. For the most part, pretty dominant win, Captain Star, and it kind of shocked me. Frost and Pleb on the orange team together still had that major flub where you got the Sound Barrier and the Maywall both committed just for an Ant Matrix.
Yeah, I think the team dynamics are just shifted just so much that even if you're playing with people you're comfortable playing with, you still need to be communicating with the rest of your team, and sometimes that can cause these communication errors. Boise State certainly did not play that nearly as well as we would see either of the individual teams play together.
Yeah.
But it's a learning experience. Now that they have played together, they can start building a lot of the communication that is being developed separately, and hopefully it'll make both teams stronger as a result.
Yeah, getting ready to go here in game number 2 in play versus between Boise State and Full Sail. Curious if it'll be hybrid or escort next. I know the tournaments like to alternate which one goes second, which one goes third. We'll also be curious to see what map Full Sail wants to pick, because Control, just really not their game. Felt like Boise State could kind of spawn camp them the whole time. And as you mentioned, they won one fight, got so overconfident that they just kind of fell apart in a 6v4.
Yeah. I think Boise State in general, they knew what their win condition was, and they played towards that. Whereas Full Sail, they definitely tried, but I feel like they just got picked off too early by either Junkrat spam or ult combinations, or again, getting overconfident.
Well, we're going to change the whole thing on its head. We're actually going to go to 2CP next. Usually reserved for 4th, just trying to get it out of the way because no one likes it. And we're still going to see a pair of Symmetras, which is very interesting for the defending team to bring a Symmetra in 2CP.
Yeah, I think Boise State's comp is very much revolved around sitting on point and not letting the enemies take control of point. They can get all around, they get the high ground, they can poke into point, but because they have the Symmetra turrets and the Maywall to just, as soon as Full Sail gets to point, they can't really take a fight there because they get split up. That's what Boise State's going for, whereas Full Sail, I feel like they're playing a more standard composition, and I don't know how it's going to work out for them.
Interesting teleporter here for Narbles. Looks like he maybe wanted to teleport down if Full Sail walked into it, but for now, Full Sail not able to make it around the corner. The teleporter's been the only elimination so far. And Narbles just going to start that spam. Teleporter comes out, gets destroyed instantly. Quidgible and Narbles going to pick up a pair. And unfortunately, Full Sail thought they had the teleporter, and they do not, and that's going to result in 3 of them kind of just going in without knowing the rest of the team can't make it. Cloak's going to go in as well, and he'll get taken down.
Yeah, Quidgible just saw where the teleporter was, and one of the things, as soon as you go through a teleporter, you're kind of vulnerable for that split second. And Quidgible's like, you know what you can do in a split second? Hit them with a charge. So he was able to get a free pick and engage into that fight. And as soon as that fight started, Boise State was able to just kind of collapse, and Full Sail wasn't able to get their comp positioned properly to absorb damage, and they just fell apart.
Maywall from Zazu just gets obliterated immediately. Modern Frost not able to land a much better one. There's a shatter for Quidgible that won't find much of anything. Cryo Freeze is used there by Modern Frost to stay alive. He's getting spammed down and immediately charged by Zultan. The only thing that leaves you more stationary teleporters coming out of that Cryo Freeze is a Photon Barrier dropped by Narbles. They're able to burn through the Immortality Field and 3 members of Full Sail. Narbles picks up a pair, so does Quidgible. Zazu, Spark Shooter, going to go down as well. It's a 4K for Quidgible. It's a team kill for Boise State, and it's a reset for Full Sail.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to see what happened there, but it looked to me like Full Sail just tried to run through to get to the other side of the indoor area, and in the process left their the backside completely open. This is interesting.
I think Full Sail saw what Boise State was trying to do, and Matrix will go down. A great Maywall will counter it, but Narb will still able to get the first elimination onto Mythic Kane. They're going to bait Full Sail in. He's going to get the tack visor out from Cloak. He gets the only 2 eliminations for the side of Full Sail before being taken down. It's a 4-on-3. Boise State should be able to eliminate Soul Eater and Spark Shooter. They will. Mythic Kane can't get the save. Boise State only got a minute and a half left for defense here, and they've got several ults coming up.
That was an interesting strategy. I feel like Boise State wanted to do something a little bit cheeky, but Full Sail saw them and tried to shut it down, but neither team knew what was going on, and Boise State just thrived in the chaos.
Yeah, that was pure chaos. As we're going to see Maywall come out. You can see Full Sail sneaking behind it. They're going to walk right into a Blizzard for Modern Frost. Zazu, the first one, take it down. There's no ult in return for Full Sail to counteract that Blizzard. Cloak will go down. It's another team kill, but it's a great drive fight for Full Sail in the sense that they did get the Blizzard out of the way. Unfortunately, they don't really have many ults coming up besides the Grav and the Sound Barrier.
Yeah, Boise State is going to be a little bit behind the ult economy, but based on how much damage they're able to spam out, I would not be surprised if Boise State gets their 4th and 5th ults faster than Full Sail. But coming to this next fight, both teams are going to have this grab along with the Sound Barrier, so we'll see which team is able to play that a little bit better.
Pair of Maywalls. Fortunately, Zazu's going to get caught on the wrong side. He'll burn the cryo freeze to be able to survive. Zultan goes down before the Sound Barrier lands. Gleb will drop his in response. Probably a bit too aggro for my taste as Mythic Kane gets taken down. Spark Shooter and Soul Eater will fall as well. Full Sail now trying to stall out as long as possible. I think that unfortunately for Zultan, he's just going to roll into his own death. Cloak gets taken out. Maywall will be used there. Wrecking Ball will get on the point, but the Maywall is going to separate the rest of the team. Zultan gets taken out. There's full ult buffet from Boise State, and they just need 1 tick to put themselves on match point.
Yeah, I feel like what happened there was Full Sail just wasn't prepared for the outright ultimate and like the coordination the Boise State had. They didn't know how to fall back properly, so as soon as they engaged, something went wrong. They were like, let's try to reset, let's come back. As soon as they were down 1, they're like, let's reset, let's regroup. And when they were trying to run away, instead of staying behind their tanks, like slowly backing up, they just split and ran, and Boise State was able to just get pick after pick that way, just extending their ult economy and their ult lead just every single fight. I really hope Full Sail can come into this with a plan of action, because it doesn't seem like they know how to fight this Boise State comp.
Yeah, I will say it did feel like the Symmetra for Full Sail was kind of a wash. Never really even got through the teleporter. Boise State had great target focus to burn it down. They'll bring out the defense Symmetra, which can be difficult to deal with. Boise State for now with a similar comp, though I don't know if the Pharah really has a place, so we'll see how long Narbles is going to stay on that Pharah.
I mean, if they do keep the Pharah, it's not like a terrible pick, mainly because Full Sail doesn't have any hit scan to deal with it, and it will just allow you to poke them from distance.
My only concern is without the Mercy, Pharah is eventually just kind of going to be whittled down.
Yeah, but if you're playing far enough out and you're using it without fully committing, it can get some work done, especially since Full Sail doesn't really have a good answer for it.
We'll see what Narbles wants to do on that Pharah. See how fast he can build the ult charge. Able to get one of the sentry turrets. The explosive damage kind of nice for that aspect at least. Modern Frost taken low. Boise State trying to find a way through. This is what doomed the side of Full Sail. Modern Frost already on the back line there. Cloak going to be the first one taken out. Immortality Field does come down. Icy will get traded out though. Now Zultan will fall. 2 already down for the side of Full Sail. Sparks through the next target for Modern Frost. He'll be able to punch him down. Zazu will go down as well. And that should about do it. If you're Boise State, they got to take care of a couple of Symmetra turrets, and they will wrap this one up in short order and put themselves on match point.
Yeah, it was just Boise State took a chaotic fight, and they were able to target focus and use their abilities a little bit more efficiently, and that's all that was required.
Yeah, it was a great play by Modern Frost to sneak around. Didn't really get the immediate elimination, but I think it caused enough panic in Full Sail. We saw members go down outside the Immortality field, and that's what won it for Boise State. Don't forget the Idaho Army National Guard, a proud supporter of Boise State esports. Bring us to the top 5 plays at the end of every match, and they invite you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs, offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Boise State on match point in this best of 5 series here in Play Versus. See what map is next as we've completely turned the order on its head. Probably going to be hybrid because they probably want to make sure everyone gets to play Kings Row once, but we'll be curious to see if that is the case. But for right now, it just feels like Full Sail does not have an answer for this Boise State roster. I think Boise State's causing enough chaos that when a even-ish fight breaks out, it's so chaotic that Boise State's just thriving in it, and Full Sail is kind of panicking. As you mentioned, one member goes down. They no longer follow their tanks. They just turn, run for the hills. You could never turn your back in Overwatch, or you're just going to get shot in the back of the head. And that's, I think, what's doing the side of Full Sail right now.
Yeah, Boise State really does seem like they're just making chaos. They're just diving in there. If this was against a better team, it would I don't think it would work very well. But because I feel like Full Sail just doesn't know how to deal with it, so they're taking advantage of the chaos and target focusing just a little bit more. I really like that Doomfist at the very end. Didn't really do as much damage, but just the CC of diving in, knocking people around, set up Boise State to get the eliminations and push straight to point.
So it will be Escort coming up next here. And again, I mean, it feels like maybe in the more structured environment of Escort where there is the payload that you're constantly pushing, maybe this chaos Boise State is causing will fall apart, but it just feels like Full Sail, unfortunately, just doesn't quite have the answer. I think Zultan is almost always first one dead, and when that happens and your main tank goes down, really not a whole lot you could do. So we'll see if Zultan and the rest of Full Sail has something up their sleeve. Otherwise, it'll be a quick 3-0 here for Boise State in this first Play Versus match on the stream, and we're going to see what happens next with Game 3 right around the corner.
And I believe this match was, Watch Point Gibraltar. So this is a very dive-heavy map. You can see Boise State taking out like a full dive comp. You've got Ball, you've got Diva, Genji, and Doomfist. Just very hyper-mobile champions, or heroes. Don't know why I keep calling them champions. Playing a little bit too much League of Legends recently. And Full Sail has a very similar comp, except for they have substituted a little bit of their damage for utility with that Sombra. So I'm wondering if they're going to be able to take advantage off of those hack targets.
Yeah, we've seen Sombra struggle recently. We've seen Frost have issues even with 5 or 6-man EMPs, so we'll see what Zazu has up his sleeve. It's a very crippling ultimate when it lands, but doesn't have that much damage, so it's going to need some sort of follow-up. This Cloak will be the first one taken out. That's not a good start for Full Sail. Boise State going to try and push the advantage. Darbles will go charging through. Zultan will now be taken out on that Winston. Hack will land onto the Genji. Maybe not the best target there, but does allow him to stop the parry, but it's not going to matter. Mid to Kane taken out, and Boise State right now only hindered by that payload speed as they're going to get another couple of eliminations, and now everyone on Full Sail besides Zazu has already died once, and Cloak's going to die for a second time. We haven't even made it to point number 1.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how Full Sail could turn this around. It just seems like their positioning was not quite up to par, and Boise State saw someone who wasn't protected and just dove on them. That's how Cloak went down to begin with, and they just used that player advantage and just keep pushing forward. They have a almost up to Nano Blade coming up. They're going to have Doomfist's ult. They're coming up on a lot of these very critical ultimates, and if they keep this pressure up, they could just steamroll all the way to the end of second point.
This is a huge pick for Zazu on Quintuple. Gets that EMP building up to 52%. Duplicate's almost online for Cloak. We'll see what he's going to pick there. Zultan will be taken out on that Winston. The Nano Blade is online. And here we go. There's the Nano. There's the Blade. Great stun there. Hack's not going to matter. All he's got to do is left click, and you can't disable that unless you unplug his mouse. Narble picks up 2. The rest of the team follows in short order. And Boise State chugging right along. They're going to pick up point number 2, and they're going to have a ton of time in the bank as Zultan goes down once again.
Yeah, despite using the 2 ultimates there, Boise State still has the ultimate advantage coming into this next fight. And it's something that Full Sail needs to work on if they want any chance of succeeding, is getting some ultimates online without giving too much space, and so far it just doesn't look like that's going to happen, especially with that ult coming out.
There's the duplicate from Cloak onto D.Va, not even able to build the D.Va bomb. They'll take out both Mech, Baby D.Va, and Cloak. Shot out of the sky by Modern Frost. There's a Nano. It's going to go on to Spark Shooter. He has the grab available. Meteor Strike will be used, but Modern Frost will just use it to get out of range. Rally and a D.Va bomb will come out. Soul Eater will be taken out. Rally also for Mythic Kane has been used. There's an EMP on line for Zazu. He gets able to kill Quidgible one more time. He's now swapped over to that Winston. For the first time we see a small retreat for Boise State. There's a 3-man EMP that is going to land. Modern Frost still hanging back. Icy going to be taken out of that mech. See if the Baby D.Va can't survive. The answer appears to be no. Boise State will just simply retreat.
Yeah, there was a massive EMP that came out in Boise State. Instead of trying to fight it, let's just back off. And while they traded Icy, that's better than having your entire team go and beat ultimates to full sail. Boise State does. They are downing the ult economy. They're coming into this grab, which could shut down the Boise State plan. But if Boise State just doesn't group up and plays a little bit split, this should be fine.
Yeah, Nano and Quidgible, even with the blade only 10% away. Pleb gets first elimination on to Mythic Kane. Quidgible will go down despite the Nano. Narbles will get one more. Modern Frost taking out this defender respawn advantage, proving just to be a bit too tough for Boise State to crack. Grab from Spark Shooter is going to come out. Ace is going to do his best Reinhardt impression there. Dragon Blade has been popped by Narbles. He's trying to cut the team in half. He's able to get both supports before he'll get electrocuted to death. Spark Shooter will pick up 2 more. Boise State oh so close to wrapping this one up, but they'll be forced to retreat one more time.
I feel like Boise State just needs to back off, get a few ultimates, and just do a hard push and just get that those last few meters. If they're not able to take such a definitive fight that Full Sail's respawns can't make it in time.
Yeah, I was shocked that Boise State just didn't hold for the Nano Blade and just end it right there, instead choosing to Nano Quidgible. Didn't even have the Primal Rage available. Cloak was trying for a sneaky little flank, gets found out, and Pleb gets the elimination. Should be able to respawn in time. You got a Coalescence up for Soul Eater, an EMP soon, as well as a Rally. Mythic Kane's going to drop that Rally. Primal Rage comes out for Quidgible, but right now the Coalescence is being held onto by Soul Eater. Now it'll come out right as Asu will drop his own Rally. Zazu very close to that EMP. He's going to slam it right away. It's going to land onto 5 members of Boise State. Duplicate just in time to keep Cloak alive, but Boise State's still able to pick up 2. Cloak should be able to get this Primal Range. He will not. Duplicate will break, and he'll be forced to retreat. Boise State's taking down 2. Now they'll get 2 more. Modern Frost does fall. Soul Eater will go down, but unfortunately the 3 original members have respawned. Zultan and Kane able to get out of spawn. Primal Rage going to heal Zultan to full. D.Va bomb from IC will come out. He'll pick up nobody, but a Dragon Blade will get 1 more. Unfortunately, the staggered respawns from Full Sail are just enough to stop this from pushing. Finally, Boise State should be on the verge of winning this here as a double Deadeye from Modern Frost comes out. They'll go for the full body block. They're going to be able to pick this one up with 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it just seems like Full Sail just couldn't quite play around the ultimates Boise State was throwing at them. Again, just so much chaos that Boise State is able to individually make plays and get advantages over Full Sail.
Well, pressure's on here for Full Sail. They do not get all the way, and 3 Kappas to force overtime. Boise State will pick up the victory. And that is going to be a tough task, because right now Full Sail's individual fight wins have been few and far between, let alone consecutive fight wins to allow them to push a payload in a map like Escort.
Yeah, especially depending on what comp Boise State goes with, you could go with a Goats-like comp, which looks like that's what they're doing. There's that little area down underneath this bridge with a mega pack that you can just hold there, and it makes it very difficult for Full Sail to actually break that position. You just stay underneath that bridge, limit the sight lines so Full Sail can't leverage the advantages of dive, and you use your Mei and your Reinhardt and your Zarya, and you just sustain underneath that bridge, and you can just hold payload there, and it's a very strong position to hold.
Very interesting comp for the side of Full Sail. They'll stick with the double bubble. They've got the Genji, but no Nano. They'll stick with the Sombra as well. There is the Ana that's going to come out.
I'm not sure what that Mercy is for, though. You're going to have a really hard time staying alive if you follow your Genji or any of your characters' trades. I'm not entirely sure what the Mercy brings to the table in this comp.
And the Mercy was the interesting one. That's the one I thought they'd actually swap off of. Right now, Boise State trying for a close hold. Ace will throw down the Immortality Field, but won't find much more. Quidgible's health gets dropped low. Hack does go on to Icy. Crowd freeze forced out there by Modern Frost. It's Boise State who gets the first elimination on the Soul Eater, but they'll quickly lose Quidgible as well. This close hold not panning out too well for the Broncos. The three members are incredibly low. Zultant will fall, but Ace will get traded out in a 1-for-1. Cloak's popping off here, gets the second elimination. Double Deadeye, though, from Narbles, able to even that fight up, and Boise State, thanks to Narbles' huge ultimate there, able to come out on top.
Yeah, the fragging potential from Narbles is coming in clutch, just keeping us alive here. And even if we had lost that fight, that would have been 40 seconds off the clock already, and it still gives Boise State enough time to rotate into that spot I mentioned previously. So even if they lose this fight, they can still have enough time to get to that nice hold spot that I was alluding to before. And it looks like Full Sail is going to need to commit multiple ultimates to break this position.
Nano comes out. Sound Barrier already used by Pleb, and that's going to immediately be canceled by a huge 6-man EMP from Zazu. Sharpshooter and AC both going to go down. Icy will fall as well. Modern Frost trying to sustain. There's the res, so I guess there's something the Mercy can do with the res onto Sparkshooter. Pleb trying to find some value. A shatter from Quidgible will find nothing. Narbles and Sparkshooter going to trade off, but Boise State will get wiped. And unfortunately for Boise State, that Sound Barrier on the wrong side of the EMP completely neutralized by a great EMP by Zazu.
Yeah, but now I want to see Boise State respawn and get back that spot. They have two ultimates that are very powerful. The May Blizzard is going to just lock down that area and allow Boise State to just hold it very strongly. I'm curious to see what Full Sail, if they're expecting this, because it doesn't look like they are.
Now, most Full Sail was up on that high ground. Sparkshooter, those going to drop down behind him. He'll throw out a grab. Immortality Field from Asu will keep Boise State alive through it. Dragon Blade will come out from Cloak, but he's not able to find anything. He does get a shield from Sparkshooter to barely keep him alive, but then Pleb will eventually take him down. Narbles gets one more. Nice flashbang right on Sparkshooter. Boise State will trade 4-for-1. They get 5-for-1 with a headshot onto Soul Eater. The Broncos going to hold that underneath spot, just as you predicted.
Yeah, and Boise State does have multiple ultimates online that will allow them to sustain. They didn't even use Blizzard last fight. I thought for sure that May was going to drop Blizzard right on their feet and just keep Full Sail from hard engaging. But no, they were able to win that fight and still keep a ton of ultimates online.
I don't think Boise State committed a single ult that fight. They'll have plenty here. Nice hack onto Narble. That's down the Deadeye. Only a minute left here for Full Sail to get to that first checkpoint. No ults online for them, but they are close to a Primal Rage and an EMP as well as a Nano. We expect the Nano to go on to Zultan at any moment when he does charge. Again, there's a hack onto Narble. There's the Primal Rage Nano. Zazu will take down Narble. Blizzard will come out. Nice sleep onto Pleb. Sparkshooter taken out. Ton of damage being put onto Zultan. He will be burned down, freezing in that Blizzard. Nice res there from Soul Eater, going to land onto Sparkshooter. Only 30 seconds left. Full Sail's got to probably win this fight in one more. Depending on how fast Boise State can get to respawn if they lose. They're still sitting on this Sound Barrier, though. Yeah, Full Sail's waiting for a respawn.
Yeah, Pleb needs to play so safe because Zazu has that EMP, and that is how they're planning on breaking this point. Pleb just needs to wait for it, and then, yeah, here you go.
There you go. 3-man EMP lands. The Sound Barrier misses Quidgible and Narbles, though. So that allows him to die. Double Deadeye to take out Zultan and Mythic Kane. There's a grab and a Dragon Blade. Valkyrie's not going to do much if you're Soul Eater. Boise State's going to pick up the team kill, and that should do it. Broncos will 3-0 the side of Full Sail. They'll win their first play versus match of the semester on the stream.
Yeah, that was a good hold today. I feel like it could have been a little bit cleaner, but it worked out pretty well in the end. And yeah, I love playing that strat hold in that little cheesy spot down there. It's pretty hard to do, but if you play it successfully, you can kill a ton of time.
Boise State with the 3-0 win over Full Sail. I think you're right. At times it was a bit, okay for Boise State, but in the end, they took the spot that you recommended, Captain Star, and absolutely cleaned up. Don't forget, Boise State Esports, always looking for talented players, production, and broadcasters. Top talent, along with good grades and eligibility, can earn you scholarships as well. Sign up today by visiting boisestate.edu/esports for more information. The Broncos with a nice inter-squad 3-0 win over Full Sail. Any final takeaways, Captain Star, from your first match here between Boise State with this mainly the Orange squad, but ASU also there as well?
I think there was a little bit too many communication errors for me to be very satisfied, but it is a very good learning experience to just mix people up and see how they act together, and just learn how to communicate better with people you're not necessarily familiar with intimately. You have been, as you mentioned before, you're not really you're not really duo queuing, doing competitive with these people. So it's really good to just get better at this communication, and it makes the program stronger overall, even if it was a not ideal performance in this match.
Yeah, it was a great job by Boise State. They remain undefeated on the night, and we'll see if in our final match the Broncos can go a perfect 4-0. Don't forget, we've got our top 5 plays coming up for that. It's all brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard. If you want to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time, reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Don't go anywhere, though. We've got NECC Overwatch coming up next. Your top 5 in a break, and we're back with more Overwatch right after that. Out. He'll pick up nobody, but a Dragon Blade will get one more. Unfortunately, the staggered respawns from Full Sail are just enough to stop this from pushing. Finally, Boise State should be on the verge winning this here as the double Deadeye from Modern Frost comes out. They'll go for the full body block, and they're going to be able to pick this one up with 2.5 minutes on the clock. This close hold not panning out too well for the Broncos. The 3 members are incredibly low. Zultant will fall, but Ace will be traded out in a 1-for-1. Cloak popping off here, gets the second elimination. Double Deadeye, though, from Narbles, able to even that fight up, and Boise State, thanks to Narbles' huge ultimate there, able to come out on top. Come out, you can see Full Sail sneaking behind it. They're going to walk right into a Blizzard for Modern Frost. Ozzy, the first one, take it down. There's no ult in return for Full Sail to counteract that Blizzard. Cloak will go down. It's another team kill, but it's a great drive fight for Full Sail in the sense that they did get the Blizzard out of the way. Unfortunately, they don't really have many ults coming up besides the grab in the center. Majority of the orange team with Asu in there, and the orange team starting off strong. They get a kill onto Zultant. Now they're going to get a kill onto Zazu. Cloak and Spark Shooter both dropping very, very low. Now Spark Shooter will go down, and Boise State with a great start. Narrowly able to get Miss Kane as he tries to walk away. Him down, and immediately charged by Zultant. The only thing that leaves you more stationary teleporters coming out of that cryo freeze. Photon Barrier dropped by Narble. They're able to burn through the Immortality Field and 3 members of Full Sail. Narble picks up a pair, so does Quidgeable. Zazu with Spark Shooter going to go down as well. It's a 4K for Quidgeable. It's a team kill for Boise State, and it's a reset for Full Sail.
It's a little bit hard to see.
Only through contact.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure. legendary parts for legendary wins.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's our final match of the night on this Overwatch Marathon Thursday. Boise State right now sitting at a comfy 3-0, and we'll see if the blue team can add one more as they have a showdown with their other top squad in the NECC. UC Santa Barbara, both teams undefeated. We knew high expectations for the blue team coming in. They were the regular season winners for their division in the fall for NECC. They made it all the way to the championships before losing to Midland, and they've already taken down Midland. UC Santa Barbara, maybe the surprising team. We mentioned Boise State and Midland in the same group. They were the finals last semester. We probably expected them to be 1-2. Santa Barbara has taken down Midland, and both these teams sit at 5-0, Captain Star. So it's the returning vet versus the uppy newcomer here. And I'll be curious to see how Boise State handles it. Now, while the teams are tied in overall record, I will add NECC. We play all three maps regardless because map score does matter. Boise State does have a 4-game lead in overall map score. So the Broncos more dominant. Both teams 5-0, though, Captain Star. We should see a pretty good game here in our final match of the night.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the teams bring out. It's been interesting to see what composition changes between blue and orange through these matches, and I want to see if our orange squad still has the same idea as our blue.
And Boise State blue taking on UC Santa Cruz here in our final match. I think the one thing that's going to be interesting to me is we have not seen an appearance from Rezo on the night. He is the sub DPS for Boise State blue. He at times has come in when Goblin has had a bad game or just a poor performance just to allow him to reset his head, and he's popped off. And I'm not going to say Goblin's had an awful night, but there have been some things, especially earlier tonight in the ABC tournament, that you're kind of like, maybe Goblin's not on his game. Maybe he's got a test coming up. Who knows? So maybe we see Rezo for a bit here. That has been almost a secret weapon for the blue team. You know, they'll win map 1. It'll be close. They'll throw in Rezo. He'll absolutely pop off. And right now, the way Plato's playing as well, UC Santa Cruz is going to be in for a very, very tough match. Their DPS better be ready to play because Boise State's going to just blow them out of the water like that.
Yeah, and swapping your team members changes the team dynamic, and that can win you fights on its own. Once the enemy team gets a little comfortable playing into what you're doing, if you change that up, that can give you a distinct advantage where they're not expecting you to do a certain play style, and if you can turn that around, you can take a surprising victory by swapping Rezo in or out.
Get ready for our final match here. This time it is the NECC, so we will play all three maps regardless of score. Both Boise State Blue and UC Santa Cruz are 5-0, but the Broncos map score is 4 better. So we'll see if that will help Boise State or if Santa Cruz, the upstart. As we mentioned, Midland's in this group. Boise State Blue and Midland were the two best teams in NECC last year. They met in the championship. Santa Cruz is the upstart. This is a very talented team that we've seen time and time again on the stream. They've been a challenge for Boise State, so we will see if Santa Cruz can move to 6-0 or if Boise State will hold serve as the top team here, Captain Star. With control and the way Boise State's been playing, I think Santa Cruz is going to have to come out here with some sort of funky comp because Plato has absolutely shut down anything. Even when we've seen him struggle, he finds a way in the very end to make the clutch plays.
Yeah, you saw, I forget exactly who we were playing, but on Nepal he was playing McCree, and the Farah and Echo came out and shut Boise State down, and then I think it was Plato just figured out how to take the space, get the shots, and just as soon as that happened, the Farah just got completely shut down, and Boise State just took the point and ran away with it. So I'm curious to see if Santa Cruz is going to have a similar thing where they try to counter either Goblin or Plato, and how we're going to react to that. Yeah,
Plato has been playing absolutely amazing. Goblin has had still some incredible plays, and the rest of Boise State has also been incredibly strong. Don't forget they still have Guac, who 2 weeks ago was the NECC Player of the Week, so a very talented tank in his own right. And it's going to be interesting to see how UC Santa Cruz wants to play. I mean, they're 5-0 for a reason. I'll be very curious to see what is their strongest stuff. Is it the tank? Is it the DPS or the support line? Because for the most part, we've seen a lot of teams come out in very similar comps. We've seen Ryan Diva. We've seen the Winston and the Zarya. We've seen a lot of McCree. That second DPS we've seen kind of float between May and Torbjorn. And we've kind of just seen Baptiste and Lucio religiously in the support line. So I'll be curious. It's going to come down to more individual skill here than comp skill, because for the most part, all these teams at the top of the bracket, they know what the meta is, and they just kind of spam it because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, the meta is almost annoyingly important in Overwatch. It's really hard to win if you don't follow the meta in some cases. And Boise State does know how the meta works, and they abuse that fact every single game.
Getting ready to go here in our final match of the night. As we mentioned, Boise State currently 3-0. Boise State Blue picked up a pair of wins in ABC, and then Boise State's combined squad with every single player eligible in play versus just 3-0'd Full Sail. So the Broncos are hot. We'll see if they can wrap the night up with a 4-0 night in Overwatch. Would be very impressive, given not only the skill of the teams we've seen in like NYU and Waterloo, but now we're going to see Santa Cruz is also undefeated. Looks like we're going to start things off on Lijiang Tower here with our first map.
And it's going to be a very nice turnaround from last week, where we had very close matches but couldn't quite take as many victories as we wanted.
So get Doc's tease the game for one final time here tonight. Never take a fair fight. What exactly does that mean? Well, take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared and when you can have ability advantages. Counts Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables a personalized customer experience for the 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. They also have quick and accurate identity trust decisions to help deliver safe payments as well. If you want more information about staying safe online, go check them out at count.com, KOUNT.com for more information. Game number one right around the corner here. And our final matchup of the night, getting ready to go to Lijiang Tower. Before we do that, we're actually going to take a look at some replays. We're going to take a look at what happened last week in the NECC for Boise State.
Yeah, last week was rough. We had a lot of matchups that were very close, but we did end up losing pretty much every single game. But it was so close, and it was just so crushing to see. We were on the verge of victory and just couldn't quite take it home.
Yeah, they tried the orange team tried the Cloud9 with the grab, came like 1 meter away, and then probably fought about 5 seconds before they needed to try and win a fight against Fresno State. The blue team has been running smoothly all along. Not so much in ABC, but in NECC for sure. As we'll actually take a look back at maybe some of the replays from the match we just saw against Full Sail.
Yeah, Full Sail definitely tried their best. Boise State was able to just win the 1v1 matchups, and because of that, they were able to excel in the chaos. And yeah, Boise State was able to just take the victory by introducing as much chaos into the match as we could.
And the Asu, the lone player from the blue team, who will have to play all 4 series tonight, as we mentioned, and play versus the Boise State squads have combined. But we get ready to go here for the blue team, a team that we have seen quite a bit of tonight with Guac, Kel, Goblin, Plato, Asu, and a large bagel. They are ready to go. They're coming off a 2-0 series, both over NYU and Waterloo in ABC. And they're seeing if they can 3-0 Santa Cruz, the top team, at least tied with Boise State for the top team in NECC in terms of overall record. The Broncos still hold the map score advantage, but Santa Cruz wins head-to-head. Map score gets thrown right out the window.
Yeah, I really do like how the map score matters. It makes every single match feel important, whereas in a best of 3, if you're the dominant team or if you're if you're a lower seeded team, it can just feel like it's impossible to win. But if every single map matters, it's just that much more motivation to play to your utmost every single time.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of our replays from earlier today. As we mentioned, Boise State Blue with a nice 2-0 response in Tespa, taking on a very talented Waterloo who at times pushed Boise State all the way to the brink.
Yeah, Boise State definitely had their work cut out for them in a few of those fights, but the coordination that we were able to bring and just the ultimate, like the compositions that we chose in a few of those cases were very interesting, and I feel like our opponents didn't quite know how to deal with it.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see if Kings Row does appear in NECC, because so far tonight, between NYU and Waterloo combined, not a single team has picked up a point on Boise State's blue team on Kings Row. It's a map that a lot of teams love, so you see it played quite a bit. So I think that will be the interesting choice too, if we get that Kings Row pick coming out, because Boise State Blue tonight has shown that might be their best map, but it's a map that we don't really see them play all that often.
Yeah, Kings Row it's one of those maps that every team has practiced. They all know what to do. They're all very good at it. But every team has that. So picking Kings Row doesn't necessarily give you that much of an advantage over most other teams. And then the comp that Boise State brings out for on their defensive side is just so nasty. You just never take a fight and you just kite and you just wait for your DPS to get a pick, either your Hanzo or Torbjorn. If you can get those picks, and it's such a nasty comp, and I love to see it, but at the same time, just thinking about playing against that just gives me nightmares.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen really many teams figure out how to break it. As you mentioned, you've got to go all the way under the arches, loop all the way back around. Goblin is constantly trying to headshot your back line as you're running right past him, so it'll be very tough. I would assume that maybe Santa Cruz will avoid Kings Row, but, I mean, at least in previous semesters, I haven't really talked to the Boise State coaches about it this semester, but it has been that everyone loves Kings Row, everyone practices Kings Row. Boise State plays every other map besides King Row, and then they just have these really infuriating strategies that when the team goes into Kings Row, they're like, what is this? This is so frustrating that, you know, they see it and they're like, well, I don't want to ever play Kings Row against Boise State, but we don't ever practice any hybrid maps. It's a very precarious situation to be in if you're the enemy team.
Yeah, I really do want to see other teams pick something other than the Kings Row, because I've yet to see anyone do well against our defensive strategy there. And I feel like if you just scout Boise State, we broadcast so many games, it's really easy to scout us. You can see this, you can prepare for it. And if you don't know how to beat it, just pick a different map. But so far, every single team seems to like going to Kings Row.
Yeah, every other team practices it, then they probably have strategies to deal with the normal Kings Row hold, but they don't have any strategies to deal with Boise State's sort of, as you mentioned, just kite them out, get a couple picks. You put yourself so far ahead that by the time the other team finally catches up in ability, ultimate advantage, there's 10 seconds left on the clock, and they've got to throw everything at you and hopefully get a pick or two. So very curious to see what the hybrid choice will be. I mean, we'll play all three maps in NECC, as we mentioned, with map score right now the lone tiebreaker between Boise State and UC Santa Cruz, with Boise State up 4. And I think you're right, Captain. I do like how this puts a lot of emphasis on if you're down 0-2 in a series or if you're up 2-0 in a series, that third map still matters, because that one win could be the difference between making playoffs or being knocked out. So I do like the fact that it challenges a team, even if you're getting 2-0, to say, hey, we've still got to be alive. We've still got to be awake for Game 3. You can't just throw in the towel, because that can change everything if you get that one extra map win as opposed to just getting 3-0.
Yeah, I do love that rule set. It's once you play a best of 3 and you're like, okay, we have the advantage. We don't have to worry about it as much because we think we're probably going to win. But when every map matters, you just have to put the extra effort to just drive it home every single time. And I just love that dynamic. I'm surprised that more tournaments don't do it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only downside, which I don't think we'll see here, is if you do get teams that are maybe sort of unevenly matched, that third map kind of feels like it just can be drug out. And you're like, okay, like, kind of know the results. Let's move on from this. I will say, I know at times Boise State in the fall had that situation come up, and there was, I think, 1 or 2 times that Boise State kind of just inted away on the third map. They were a little too bored. They were having a little bit too much fun, from what I've been told. They kind of trolled a little bit. Didn't really bother them. They still got the #1 overall seed, but it is one of those that in stomps, I could see if you're the better team, it could really challenge your ability to remain focused when you probably have homework, you have a test. So it is an interesting one, but when you have 2 good teams like this, it really is going to push the limits, because even if Boise State goes down quickly 2-0, you get that one map back. You can keep your map score lead over UC Santa Cruz in case they do ever drop a map. As we check out the Game Pants Arena, nobody here tonight, but we are getting ready for the players to get ready and go with our first game between the 2 undefeated and top teams in the NECC group, between Boise State Blue and UC Santa Cruz, both sitting at a perfect 5-0 record. Production holding it down as well. You can see there, just waiting for the game to go live. Hopefully it'll go live very soon, and you and I, Captain Star, will be treated to a great final match of the night.
Yeah, one of the challenges with live games is sometimes technical issues can delay, so sometimes players can't connect. They have internet or computer issues that need to be worked out. So sometimes it's a little bit painful to get into game on time. So
Yeah, I mean, you have to wait, because I know in some cases NECC might be one where they pre-pick the maps as opposed to losers pick, so you might have to figure out who's picking what map, but we should be able to go here momentarily. Till then, just wrapping things up here, our final Overwatch match of the night. Boise State Blue right now comfortably in that playoff spot, just waiting to see if they can really solidify their record with a win over Santa Cruz and put themselves all alone in the top of their NECC group, and well on their way to not only making it back to the playoffs, but hopefully righting some of those playoff misfortunes that plagued them in the fall, where they got sort of beat down by Midland. They've taken their revenge on Midland both in NECC and in TESPA, but Captain Star, the regular season success only matters so much. It's all about those championships you get to hoist at the end.
Yeah. The playoff or the regular matches only matter so much as getting you into the playoffs, and that's where the real fight begins. So I'm curious to see how many of these teams are going to get into the playoffs, or sorry, let me rephrase that, how well the players are going to play, if there's any roster changes, depending on what the meta change, what new updates come out. Some of the strategies that these teams are comfortable with might change or fall out of the meta, and Boise State has done a fantastic job of following the meta, being very good about having a wide champion pool to just play anyone that they need to, and depends on what the player's comfortability is on all these different heroes, and we'll see what happens when the playoffs come around. Yeah,
that is the one interesting thing about Collegiate League of Legends is that, you know, you're constantly getting patches. I mean, Collegiate League of Legends, Collegiate Overwatch, Blizzard has done a good job of sort of matching that patch cycle that we've seen Riot do. I mean, we just got a patch last week that completely changed everything. So it is interesting to note that I think this actually happened last time in the playoffs. The meta completely shifted as the playoffs started. Kind of actually hurt the orange team because they were so used to the old meta, they weren't ready to change to the new meta. So it is interesting. Depending on these patches drop, you could see a completely different meta, and teams that maybe barely made the playoffs that are comfortable on heroes that are champions that aren't meta right now could definitely dominate when we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think right now we need to focus on this meta, and Boise State in general is very good about keeping up to date on what the meta strategies are. We just have to make sure that we keep the champion pools wide enough so that any meta shifts won't affect our ability to play the meta comps.
Yeah, well, while we wait here, I think we should take a quick break while we wait for everyone to get into the game. Well, okay, appears like we're almost there. So unfortunately, we won't be able to take a quick break there, so we'll have to see. Hopefully that game will be starting very soon, and we'll be able to hop into it between the two best teams in the NECC, between Boise State and UC Santa Cruz. Starting off with Control here. Do you have any map preference before we get into it, Captain Star?
I always love to see Ilios. There's so much map variety there that depending on which sub-map you get, you could see wildly different comps.
Looks like it is time. So we'll see. Two teams 5-0. One will leave with a 6-0 record. One will fall to 5-1. And we're about ready to go here with map number 1.
Yeah, we'll see what comps these teams decide to go with. Boise State seems to be going with double bubble with a bit of dive. And Santa Cruz is going with very much a get to point and you stay there.
So that May has been very difficult for Boise State to adapt to at times. The wall and maul strategy that we've seen the Broncos pull off time and time again has definitely caught them by surprise in the last few weeks. So we'll see how Superman is able to land these walls, and as he's able to catch Guac on the wrong side, but on that Winston, it will be a bit harder. To kick things off, we stay in the red, UC Santa Cruz in the blue. We stay right now just holding that high ground. Goblin on the Echo, doesn't even need to take to the skies quite yet. Trying to find a pick onto somebody. Guac dropping low. He will be healed up there. A small flank comes out from Plato and Goblin. Oasis dropping incredibly low. Get the immortality field down just as he's about to be taken out. Boise State will be able to eliminate it. Anti's going to land onto Moises. Can Boise State take him down? No, it'll fade with him barely still alive. Finally, they're able to kill him, but Superman gets one back onto Goblin. Kel will take down Ionic. EMF incredibly low as well, so is Louis. And Boise State with a great ante from a large bagel and just enough chip damage from Goblin and Plato. Gonna be able to wrap this one up and should be able to put the point back after UC Santa Cruz got it first.
Yeah, Boise State has very much a dive comp. They waited for their opportunity. They pounced. Santa Cruz got the point, but in doing so, they had to burn their Immortality Matrix. And once that's down, that gives the Boise State the green light to hard engage because they know that whoever they focus fire won't be able to have the defensive heal that the Immortality Matrix provides.
Santa Cruz going for the high ground here. There's a pulse bomb available for Plato and not much more. We'll see if he can land a big stick onto Moises or Luis. As he's going to try it, not going to find it. EMF gets the first pick on to Asu. There is a grab coming down from Kel, but it looks like it completely whiffed. I don't see any members of UC Santa Cruz stuck inside of it. Ionics to be able to take down Goblin as well. Primal Rage is enough to take down Luis, but not much more. I'll actually get a boop off the edge on Superman. Guac proving why he was the NECC Player of the Week just a few weeks ago. Gets 2 kills. Able to D-neck Mechamigma, but unfortunately for Boise State, point's going to flip back.
Yeah, I feel like this just comes down to a matter of target focus. Boise State just didn't seem to have good target players.
He's there, a large bagel, and is going to drop the nano. A rally comes out from Boise State as well. The Broncos going to throw a bunch of ults to the side of UC Santa Cruz. They're going to wrap things up, and now it means ult advantage on the side of Santa Cruz.
Goblin does have his duplicate, so depending on who he decides to duplicate, that could mean game, because with how fast you can charge those ultimates, if he gets that May, there could be a Blizzard coming out. And that could absolutely win the fight for Boise State.
Goblin almost dying, has not used the duplicate quite yet. There's still a sound barrier available for Luis. See the Deadeye comes out, Blizzard will be used. Goblin's going to use that duplicate onto the Lucio there. Ionics able to get one, Goblin able to punch down Superman. Deep bomb going to come out from Enigma. Looks like he should be able to get away. Goblin barely surviving. Almost has that sound barrier. Oh, he's barely able to get back.
Oh, no.
But it fades just before he can hit the ground. Louis able to get out his own sound barrier. And that's going to shut down Boise State's chances just a little bit. The sound barrier now will fade. Ionic will fall. Enigma forced out of the mech. Goblin and Guac out popping off right now, and they're going to put UC Santa Cruz in last fight territory on map number 1.
Yeah, this is getting down to the wire. Boise State has the advantage. They have the ultimates to win this. But Santa Cruz definitely has the possibility to frag out in these last few seconds.
Don't know if that was the right play from EMF to go charging in. I know he wanted to stall out overtime, but I think that's actually going to end the team. There's no Reinhardt there. Luis was there. He'll get knocked off the edge. Enigma on that Wrecking Ball. Primal Rage comes out from Guac. He's trying to launch him away, but the Wrecking Ball will hold strong before getting knocked out. And I think EMF made a little bit too much of a hero play there, and he cost his team any chance of contesting.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm pretty sure Luis was able to contest, and Lucio is much better to contest because he has the ability to get in, and he has the speed to get out and the CC to get out. Whereas Reinhardt, once he gets in there, he's committed, and his team wasn't there to support him, and you just saw how fast EMF got melted as soon as he touched point.
A bit of an interesting comp here, at least now for Boise State. I'd be shocked if Goblin stays on the Sombra. We usually see the Broncos either pull out a Symmetra here or a Widowmaker. Well, for UC Santa Cruz, they contemplated some swaps, and they'll change their mind.
Yeah, I feel like Santa Cruz knows what they want to do, and from what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem like they're willing to swap to make any changes to give them an advantage. With Boise State is they know how to take advantage of composition weaknesses, and they're willing to swap to make that happen.
With the Sombra Reapers, with the EMP Death Blossom comp that UC Santa Cruz has to watch out for. Caliphate Asu already has to come out. And it'll keep Boise State alive. Walking Kel dropping very, very low. Charge just barely jumped over. EMF goes charging in, gets hacked. Superman's able to take down one, though. They're also able to knock Kel out of the mech. Boise State's probably better off retreating here. Asu's going to throw down the Ant Matrix, but really for no reason. It'll just be line of sighted on point. UC Santa Cruz going to pick that one up. A large bagel gets taken down. Boise State's going to be forced to reset.
Yeah, Asu, I think he thought that he could keep Guac alive, but couldn't quite make that happen and ended up just using that ultimate for no value gain. Boise State does have Shatter available, so if Guac can get behind EMF's barrier, that Shatter is a very powerful tool to just allow Boise State to just win this.
The Ant Matrix from Moises is just going to allow his team to rip through that shield from Guac and start to recharge. Now, though, still have to go into a Blizzard and a Deadeye. So Moises is going to be taken down. There's a Shatter available. It's going to land just onto Superman. He does get the Blizzard down, but he's not able to Cryo Freeze to regenerate his life. A Shatter does land onto Guac, but Immortality Field will keep him alive. Louise and EMF have fallen. A great hack onto Enigma there from Goblin. He has the EMP, but he's going to be able to D-neck Enigma, take down the Baby Diva. Boise State able to flip the point back with a great Shatter combo there from Guac.
Yeah, I feel like Santa Cruz, they had so much frontline pressure they didn't really expect Boise State to flank around the side. And as soon as Boise State got the point, they had better target prioritization. They knew what they needed to do, and they called it out. And Santa Cruz just didn't quite know how to react.
It's got the EMP and the Deadeye. There's a Deadeye Diva Bomb on the side of Santa Cruz. There's also a pair of sound barriers very close. There's an Ant Matrix Reisu. See who wants to slam down that Q button first. He'll start with an Asu. He's going to drop the Ant Matrix. There's a Diva Bomb from Enigma. Ionic gets taken out before he can Deadeye. There's a Deadeye for Plato. Bang, bang, bang! Right on the supports. He's able to pick up 2 more. Who needs an EMP? Boise State wins that fight, picks up the team kill.
And this is what we were talking about earlier tonight. Boise State knows how to manage their ultimates. They only use 2 ultimates to win that fight, and they've still got EMP, self-destruct, and barrier. So they kept a lot of their ult. They only used what they needed to win the fight, and they have the ults to just clean out this next fight easily if they use them properly.
Shatter's online soon. There's a 4-man EMP. It's going to come out from Goblin. Immediately, 3 members of Santa Cruz will go down. Immortality Field keeps everyone but Plato alive. Boise State's just going to run on through. 1 ult down, 6 eliminations. They'll stagger out Enigma. And Boise State, maybe 1 fight, maybe 2 away from winning.
Yeah, and with this Shatter self-destruct, if they can time this properly and force EMF to turn around to block the self-destruct, that could give Guac the opportunity to just get a free multi-man Shatter.
Both sound barriers are still available. Large Bagel's not really had necessity to use his. Louis has just been dead too quickly to be able to use his. See here, who wants to blink first? Is a Deadeye from Ionix going to come out? Boise State will simply line of sight behind the pillar. And that ult will go away. Now they're going to jump right on the point. It's overtime here, last fight. There's a Shatter land just onto 1. Louis going to get the sound barriers. Deep Bomb gets nothing but Enigma's mech. Large Bagel will drop down his sound barrier as well as an Ant Matrix from Asu. Pair of charges, nice pin. EMF goes down. There goes Moises. Boise State looking for Louis for the team kill in the game, and they'll get it. They'll win map number 1.
Yeah, that last charge sealed the deal where he pinned EMF and then knocked 2 squishies with him into the corner where he was able to just easily follow it up. I wonder what play of the game is going to be this time. There was lots of plays it could have been, and Guac is going to take it away.
Will it be this pin at the very end? Will not. It will be, hey, when everyone's EMP'd, you just kind of free swing your hammer around. It really don't matter what you're doing.
Yeah, Santa Cruz really didn't stand a chance. As soon as they had all that EMP hit, 5 members, they just crumpled.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the power of Sombra forever. The fact is you have to have follow-up, and a great follow-up is just a giant man swinging a giant hammer. Don't forget you can score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help rank up. Want to unlock your true talent? Go check them out, esportstower.com. Well, the battle of the heavyweights goes favor of Boise State on map number 1. Captain Star, a dominating victory on Control. And we'll see now what UC Santa Cruz wants to do on one of our payload maps, be it hybrid or escort. They're going to have to find a way to break this Boise State line.
Yeah, and Control is historically one of our worst maps. So this is very promising for Boise State coming into these non-control maps where we generally do much better, where ult economy is much more important and dry fighting happens a lot less often.
Yeah, I think that I will say in Escort and Hybrid, I do think that Superman's going to get a lot more value on that May. A lot of those maps have those little archways that if you throw a perfect May wall out, you can potentially catch Guac on the wrong side, get that wall and maul, kill the Reinhardt. So I do think that Santa Cruz, if they stick with that May, is going to get a bit more value. I don't think we'll see the Sombra once again. I do like how Boise State kind of said, you know what, it fits the situation, it fits the map, we'll bring it out. Curious what Goblin will bring out on our next map, but I do think that we are going to see better value for that May for Santa Cruz. And all you need, 2-3 good May walls onto a Reinhardt, and you can completely change how the map's going to go.
Yeah, but we've seen Guac go on to Winston a few times, and if May becomes a problem, we could just swap our comp to focus more on the Winston rather than the Reinhardt. It makes it much harder to catch anyone out.
Yeah, I mean, the double bubble would be a great choice for Boise State if they are scared of the May. I mean, I do think that while the May has value, we've talked about her in the past as well, Captain Star, she is one of those more Sombra type DPS where it's more support than damage, and feels like at times you see Santa Cruz is just simply lacking the damage aspect of the DPS. So maybe the May just going to get outclassed in the fact that McCree needs some sort of support because, yeah, Blizzard Deadeye looks great on paper, but if everyone's surviving, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to have Eichenwald up next. Be curious to see how exactly Boise State or Santa Cruz wants to approach that one. We have Watchpoint Gibraltar as our last map, so everything already been picked. And Eichenwald at times has been an issue for Boise State. We'll see how they come out here. Maybe have the pharmacy comp for either of these teams. Be very curious what the DPS choices are.
Eichenwald is one of my favorite maps aesthetically. It just looks beautiful. But the way it plays out in gameplay, I feel like this first area is just sometimes it's so hard to push through because there is just that one archway that, again, a May wall could just completely shut that down. There's also the possibility of having the Symmetra May strategist teleporting over the high ground. That does not seem like that's what Boise State is going to go for this time.
I think the one thing with Eichenwald is that each checkpoint, if you will, is a different style. I mean, you've got this sort of singular elevation, very hard to push through first point to unlock the payload. Going into checkpoint 2, you've got all that high ground you've got to deal with, and then you go inside the castle that can nullify a lot of those aerial heroes that can shine on points 1 and 2. So swaps will be interesting, but for now, Santa Cruz, clearly this is a comp they feel very comfortable on. They have not been, you know, sort of demoralized by their beatdown on control. They're going to run back the exact same things. Boise State will answer with the exact same comp of their own. It's mirrors across the board. We'll see who's better in the 1v1 mono-y-mono. Crowd Freeze has already been forced out here from Superman. Boise State just pushing onto the point. The main wall is not going to be able to land. Goblin will try his. Immortality Field will come out from both sides. Pair of freezes come out. Goblin's able to stay alive. There's that May wall. Guac caught on the wrong side, so is EMF. Guac's going to be the first one to be taken out. Even with that freeze going on to EMF, Moises will be taken down by Plato. He's now in a duel with Louis. Jump down for the health pack. He's looking for the flank. Instead, he's going to find Enigma with that Diva mech. And unfortunately, Plato, the fan of the hammer will work, but he's at 2 HP. And he'll be caught out and die, and Boise State will reset.
If Boise State plays this right, they can get back before Enigma has her mech back. And that could definitely give Plato with his Deadeye the chance to get multiple kills, especially if they can take out that May wall quickly.
Yeah, surprised we didn't see Enigma opt for the suicide reset on the Diva mech as soon as Plato went down. Unfortunately for Boise State, they are going to lose a large bagel. There's a Deadeye that will come out right through the Ant Matrix. He's looking for a target. He's not able to find anything. Flashbang's going to go right into the shield. A two-man shatter comes out from EMF. Ionic is going to get the Deadeye as well as a Blizzard. And Boise State's going to have short work made of them, and they will reset without an elimination.
I think at this point, if you're Boise State, you just play a little bit passively, let Guac get his shatter, let Kel get self-destruct, and then you just go in with 3 big ultimates, and you just take the point, and you hold it, and at least get a tick or two to get some score on the board.
Have the Blizzard available. There's a sound barrier available for Louis, so a pick on him by Plato would be absolutely massive. Blizzard's going to come out from Goblin. He nearly is taken out. EMF will be killed before the sound barrier can land, but it'll land on the remaining 5 members of Santa Cruz. Immortality Field came out from Moises, and he'll be taken out, so a bit of a double committal there from the supports of Santa Cruz. Deep Bob from Enigma will come out, will not find anything. They're trying to find the snipe onto the Baby Diva, not able to get it for Goblin. Meanwhile, Louis has died off camera. Moises will fall as well. No support. Boise State should have a pretty easy time wrapping up this checkpoint. Goblin's going to go for the flank right onto Enigma. Didn't even see it coming. EMF's going to walk right into his own death as well. There will not be a staggered recontest inside of Santa Cruz, and Boise State will unlock the payload.
Yeah, and Boise State, once they were able to take control of point, they just didn't let Santa Cruz take point back with the Maywalls just keeping Santa Cruz away from the point. And that's what Boise State does really well, is they know when to be aggressive and when to play further back, and they just played that so well that they didn't. Did they even lose a single player?
No, not on that last fight. We get an Ant Matrix down from Moises. High ground right now being used by Santa Cruz, but no one's using the Ant Matrix, unfortunately. Boise State, they're looking for a flank. They opt against it. Now they're going to find another flank. Oh, perfect Maywall from Superman. Everyone was dead if that Maywall did not go up. Ionic's going to be taken down. There's a sound barrier in response to the Blizzard. Immortality Field comes out. Double shatter onto the Broncos tank line. Walk will be taken out there, but Moises will fall as well. Boise State in the 5v4. But without their main tank, means Plato is a perfect target. Both teams down 2, trying to push the payload as far as they can. But unfortunately for Boise State, they're probably going to have to opt for a retreat as Asu will go down. But Goblin and Guac, fresh off the respawn for Guac, they'll pick up 2 more. Kell's going to lose the mech, so will Enigma. If Boise State rallies despite not having a Reinhardt for most of that fight, be able to come out on top.
And Boise State came out of that with multiple fantastic ultimates coming into this next fight. With the Shatter and the Blizzard, they can, if they play this right, just steamroll their way to the end of the second checkpoint.
Kell looking for alt charge. He's going to get it to remech. Shatter online for Guac. Another Blizzard online for Goblin, even though he just dropped one. There's no sound barrier up for Louis, but it's coming up soon if Boise State waits too long. And we'll see. It's all on EMF to hold that shield. Enigma's going to get frozen. There's the Shatter. Just lands onto EMF, and he'll be taken out, but Superman will take down Goblin. Deadeye's going to take down one more without the Reinhardt shield there. And much like you said, Captain Star, Boise State has steamrolled to point number 2.
Yeah, we didn't get very much value out of our ults, but we didn't need to. We put so many into them, we just pushed them back and they couldn't contest. They were very inefficient ultimates, but ultimately at the end of the day, we just needed to get to the checkpoint, so that's what we did.
3 minutes just under on the clock for Boise State as they round to point number 3. Sound barrier and Ant Matrix on the side of Santa Cruz. They'll throw down the Ant Matrix, and Boise State will simply line of sight that one. Ace is sitting on his own, but the difference in the Lucios is staggering here. The large bag only at 50%. Louis still sitting on his sound barrier, has not dropped his second. That'll be hard for Boise State to push through with no real DPS also alive. There's the Ant Matrix going to come out. Goblin's going to get the first one onto Ionic. Enigma's going to throw down the Diva Bomb. Guac gets stunned, but the bomb won't find any target. Still waiting for Louis to drop that sound barrier. Probably should do it before he loses another member. It'll go down, but it's going to miss Enigma, who's been forced out of the mech. It's going to force a retreat. That sound barrier for Louis is held on to a bit too long, if Boise State will press the advantage.
Santa Cruz had the absolute ultimate advantage going to that fight. They tried to hold on to their ultimates and not use them all, and because of that, Boise State was able to take the victory when they really shouldn't have been able to.
Tire and a Deadeye up for Boise State. There's a Deadeye. Both sides going to throw one out. Blizzard comes out from Superman. Plato finds the only elimination with the Deadeye onto Moises. Riptire will find nothing. Walk's going to be swinging that hammer. They're going to be able to take down EMF. Looks like Walk will be taken out, but a double Diva Bomb kill is going to bait out a bit of a C9 for the side of Santa Cruz. We talk about it as a zoning ult. How about a zoning ult and a 2-kill? Boise State goes all the way. Decent chunk of time on the clock with just over a minute.
Yeah, Boise State they had the ultimate disadvantage, but Santa Cruz just didn't quite play it right. They had the ults to win the fight, but they just didn't have the opportunity to actually use them. Boise State put so much pressure onto them that they just died before they could use them, and Boise State just pushed their way almost brute force right to the end.
Yeah, unfortunately for Santa Cruz, everything kind of went south when they lost 2 members and then, really 3 members, and then Louis committed that sound barrier. And it is a tricky thing. We've seen several times this semester sound barriers either just missing or, not landing at the appropriate time, or even Lucio's dying before the sound barrier lands. So it's not an easy task by far, but when you mess up, it is very easy to spot.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed is Boise State's really been setting the tempo for the fights. They've been the ones who are pushing the issue. They've been the ones to engage. And I feel like if Santa Cruz on that last couple of engagements, if they had to push back, if they had taken the initiative to engage into that fight, use their ultimates first, they had a real chance of victory. They probably would have won because they just had so many more ultimates. But because Boise State pushed it so aggressively, they just didn't allow Santa Cruz the time required for them to properly set up an engagement.
See our first swap of the night for Santa Cruz. Enigma off the Diva, onto the Zarya. Everything else stays the same. So Kel, a lot of pressure to eat that grab and that Blizzard when the time comes. Boise State waiting on the point. EMF's going to be the first elimination, and now Santa Cruz will go retreating. Immortality Field goes down to try and keep him alive. Will be taken out. Superman gets taken out as well. The wall not enough to save him. Boise State gets a quick 2-pick on the first fight.
Yeah, Boise State does love their Torbjorn with the absolutely stupid amounts of damage that can be output. It's very powerful if put in the right hands, and Boise State knows how to set the Torbjorn up for the maximum amount of damage possible.
Cruz looking for a push. They're able to take down Plato. Wall goes up, immediately gets taken down. Goblin will retreat as his turret eats a charge. Ionic taking it out. Immortality Field just on to Asu. There's a cryo freeze for Superman. Walk was trying to camp it, but he was a bit too aggro. He will be taken out. Now Kel's looking to try and keep Boise State in it as they have now lost 2, making a Diva mech, and that could be plus down 3 for Boise State. And unfortunately, the Broncos probably got a bit too aggro there. They're probably waiting for a Ant Matrix Molten Core to save them, but Luis is going to be able to take down Goblin, and that be a payload taken to the side of Santa Cruz.
Yeah, Boise State lost Plato pretty early to that engagement. It was an unfortunate pick. But then instead of playing it passively and waiting for Plato to get back, we decided to take the initiative and, again, push the issue. But this time it just didn't quite work out for us because we were already at a -1 disadvantage.
Boise State will rotate over to the high ground. Molten Core is going to come out from Goblin. There's a grab from Enigma. Mortality Field used by Ace to keep Boise State alive. We get the Ant Matrix from Oasis. Only eliminations right now. A pair of Immortality Fields. Now Boise State will turn it on them. 4 eliminations. Can they make it 5 or 6? No. EMF barely going to get out alive. Great Molten Core comes out, and despite the grab, Boise State able to be victorious.
Yeah, I feel like Santa Cruz tried to take the initiative, but they just tried to go too quickly. They weren't able to follow up on that grab. But then also Goblin had a fantastic Molten Core to just spread all of his lava on the ground, just make it even harder for Santa Cruz to get in there. And Boise State just weathered the storm and came out on top.
Perfect paywall for Plato. Absolutely infuriating to the side of Ionic. That Deadeye will be wasted. State still has that sound barrier as well as a Blizzard. There goes Plato. He will drop the Blizzard right on top of Santa Cruz. We're going to get a Blizzard as well from Superman. He will be taken out, though, as well as Ionic. Louis will fall as well. EMF wants to join the party. Can Enigma and Moises get away? The answer appears to be yes. If Boise State commits 1 ultimate, picks up 4 kills.
Yeah, and Boise State has the ultimate advantage coming into this next fight. They have Beat and they have Self-Destruct, whereas Santa Cruz is going to have Beat and Shatter. So Boise State is going to play a little bit more passively, try to get a good angle with the Self-Destruct to allow a good engagement on their front line.
And both Plato and Superman committed the Blizzards. Plato's already at 43%. Superman's at 9%. Plato's looking for his flank. They're looking for the wall and maul onto Santa Cruz. They're going to walk right into it. Unfortunately for Boise State, 3 members will be on the wrong side. EMF will throw down the Shatter. Walk will get stunned up. Immortality Field will come down. Louis will commit the sound barrier. Boise State will hold on to theirs. There's an Ant Matrix from Oasis that will come down as well, but he'll need a Flame Strike to the face. And the fight's all over the place. Some on the high ground, some on the low ground. Superman's able to take down Asu. And now Boise State will jump down. Plato's going to drop down the Blizzard. There's a sound barrier from a large bagel. Enigma will bail him out by using a grab, but I think the sound barrier might have been a bit over aggro. We'll see how large bagel, how fast he's able to charge his, because Louis is already at 26%.
Yeah, that grab on the side of Enigma was a complete waste. It was one of those panic ultimates that you see, you're like, I'm in trouble, I gotta do something, and you all, but again, the fight has already been lost. You got 0 value out of that. That is one of the strong, oh, never mind, Enigma decided to change to Diva, so that makes a little more sense in that case.
Core is going to come out from Goblin, able to burn down Ionic. Able to take down the Immortality Field as well. And Santa Cruz unfortunately fighting on top of the lava. They're going to lose a couple. Enigma is just going to reset once again. EMF's going to try and push the cart. Boise State Already wheeled this down to 1 minute and 30 seconds. You're probably looking at 2-3 fight territory for Santa Cruz, and there's still a couple of ults on Boise State. They've staggered their ults perfect.
Yeah, Boise State is so good at this ult economy that almost no matter what happens, they always seem to be having at least one ultimate up on Santa Cruz. And Santa Cruz just doesn't know how to play into this. They keep taking these engagements, and Boise State always has the correct answer to deal with.
Shatter, Ant Matrix up for Boise State, and the Ant Matrix will come out. Flame Strike through the Ant Matrix, a perfect snipe on Moises. Superman will be taken out as well, and Santa Cruz probably best to reset here. Louis will fall, EMF will join him. There's 60 seconds left, and Santa Cruz goes quickly. They'll have 2 shots here to at least get us to point number 2 and extend this match.
Boise State used a single ultimate, and we just easily won the fight off of that. We've still got multiple ultimates to use. But this is going to be a big question mark because Boise State's going to have Shatter and Self-Destruct. If Ionic can get a good Deadeye, unexpected place, that might be able to turn the tide for Santa Cruz's favor.
Man also has the Blizzard. There is Diva Bomb going to go out for Kel. Not able to find anything. Ionic's going to use that Deadeye. So Boise State all on the high ground, not have to worry about it too much right now, though Santa Cruz is just pushing past them. They're going to bait Boise State to take a fight in this Blizzard. A lot of pressure here on Kel to eat it. 4-man Shatter's going to go out for both sides the exact same time. Molten Core comes out for Goblin. A Blizzard will be used by Plato. That's going to do it for Boise State. Both Shatters insane. Luckily for Guac, his team had more ultimates available, and they'll pick that one up. I don't think I've ever seen a double 4-man Shatter at the exact same time, Captain Star.
Yeah, that was something else. Yeah, Boise State just
maybe on the very end. Yeah,
oh,
I mean,
yeah, here it is.
When everyone's stunned,
Torbjorn just goes ham. Oh my God.
He's like, oh, this is really easy. this is probably. That was very lackluster. I was expecting a lot more kills, but nonetheless, Boise State guarantees that they will move to 6-0, but we still have 1 map left to see if Santa Cruz can at least get 1 in the win column, and Boise State will 3-0 them. Don't forget, the Idaho Army National Guard is a proud supporter of Boise State esports. Top plays are presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. As we mentioned, the NECC takes into account map score, so we will go to map 3 regardless, but overall series does matter, so Boise State has picked up the win. They will move to 6-0. They're just now looking for the 3-0, Captain Star.
Yeah, that last map is still important. Might very well determine who comes in 2nd or 3rd place, and it's never something you want to lose.
Yeah, if memory serves me right, Boise State 3-0'd Midland in NECC. Santa Cruz has already beat Midland, but Santa Cruz able to take that final map off Boise State. As you mentioned, Captain Star, that could be the 2nd place tiebreaker. Maybe if Santa Cruz has a bad stretch, that could be the 3rd place tiebreaker. So this map does really matter for the side of Santa Cruz. Boise State right now undefeated. They beat probably the 2 hardest teams in the group, probably looking pretty strong, but you always want to win as many maps as possible and set yourselves up pretty well for the playoffs in case somebody comes out of nowhere. Maybe you have some disconnect issues, which we've seen can happen in collegiate esports. So very important here in Watch Point Gibraltar for both these teams, not only for Boise State to guarantee that they have beaten down Santa Cruz and stay alone at the top of the division, but also for Santa Cruz to maybe have that 1 extra point in the win column to maybe have a tiebreaker for 2nd and 3rd place when the playoffs come around.
Yeah, and coming into this next map is Gibraltar, and Boise State has shown that they like to run dive. They have double bubble. They like their dive DPS. But I don't think I've seen anything besides Reinhardt, Zarya, May coming out from the side of Santa Cruz. And I don't know if they're going to be able to adjust their playstyle to deal with this dive because Gibraltar is a very dive-centered map.
Yeah, I will say from what we've seen from Santa Cruz, they definitely feel like one of those teams who had a very strong comfort pick. Those comfort picks all became meta, and they just kind of steamrolled off the meta. So if the meta shifts away, I could see Santa Cruz having some issues later on this tournament because you're completely right, Captain Sar. We've seen one swap this entire time onto the Zarya, and it wasn't played fantastically, and we wasted a grab just to swap back to Divas. So I think that Santa Cruz has a comp. They're very comfortable with it. They're very good on it. But as you mentioned, Boise State's found the counter, and it's now balls in UC Santa Cruz's corner to can they find the counter, or do they think they can just play this comp better on map number 3?
Yeah, and especially since Gibraltar is such a dive that I don't think Boise State is going to be playing the Reinhardt. They're going to be playing a Winston, probably a Zarya for double bubble. And because of so much high ground that is covering this map, dive is so powerful. And unless Santa Cruz can either deal with dive or play dive themselves, I am very scared for their chances here.
Well, most unique comp we've seen from Santa Cruz by far. They'll bring out the double bubble, and somehow these two teams continue to nearly mirror each other, with the only difference the Echo versus the Ash, which means there's a lot of onus on Plato to get those those shots on the air onto Iconic and not allow that Echo to absolutely pop off like we've seen time and time again from some teams.
Yeah, Boise State is starting on offense, so if they can get a look or two of some of Santa Cruz's picks, they might decide to change their comp a little bit. See Goblin going to Symmetra, I doubt that's going to stay the same, but we'll see.
Yeah, it could be a just a cheeky little teleport right out of the gate for Boise State and then a swap. We will have to see. Looks like, nope, no teleport for now. There it will come out, but Plato's not able to get in the teleport. So Boise State's going to have a bit of a split team. Santa Cruz will continue to hold the high ground. We'll see if Boise State can get through these arches. Guac will go jumping up. Throw down that bubble on top of himself, trying to do as much damage as possible. Ionic will be the first one taken it out by Kel. Boise State right now also has Superman incredibly low. He will be able to heal back up to full. Boise State right now pressing the advantage on this comp for Santa Cruz.
I think if you're Boise State, you just kind of let Santa Cruz chill in that little box and you keep pushing payload. Make them push the issue into you and then counter and jump on their backline.
Louis on that brig, being absolutely electrocuted to death. Cal will pick up the kill, but Guac did a majority of the damage. And meanwhile, that payload, as you mentioned, Captain Stark, just pushing. Finally, DC Santa Cruz will jump down to the low ground. Guac gonna go chasing after Enigma. Ionic on that Echo has been taken out again. Oasis will be taken out on the Ana. Enigma still running for his life, but Boise State in quick pursuit. Guac now will retreat, but this should be a quick point number 1 for the Broncos.
Yeah, and I think the discomfort that Santa Cruz feels on this comp is really evident here. I don't think Boise State lost a single member that time, and Santa Cruz never really engaged. They kept trying to run away, play safe, but ultimately, that's not what Dive is about. Dive is about being as aggressive as possible, taking space, and getting eliminations. Unfortunately, Boise State is just playing that way better.
Guac dropping low, holding on to that Primal Rage. Enigma will be taken out. EMF was anti, but he will retreat as well. There's a Nano, probably Primal Rage target waiting for Boise State whenever they need to use it. Right now, they really have not had any issues, as AC will just simply sit on the point. Boise State starting to make quick work of Santa Cruz here. The Broncos still have not lost a member. Santa Cruz hasn't really got much going for them.
Yeah, Santa Cruz, they're very, very proficient with the comp they were running in the last map, but it just seems like they don't know how to play dive. Like they keep trying to play it like the Reinhardt, like a sustained brawl comp, but ultimately that's not how you play dive. And since Boise State is comfortable on this comp, they're able to just steamroll ahead.
Enigma will unfortunately fall off the edge. Ult advantage is starting to trend in the direction of Santa Cruz. They've got several online. Boise State is close to the grab. Pulse Bomb will take down Louis.
No.
Fortunately for Boise State, the payload is not going to get there in time. They'll have to spawn camp for a bit longer.
I don't think Boise State has yet to lose a member. They keep getting these very aggressive picks. They take aggressive positioning. And because Boise State is more comfortable, they're able to frag out and get all these eliminations without Santa Cruz being able to really do much of damage.
Bob's going to come in. There's a rally. There's a Nano Primal Rage on the EMF. We are going to get double grabs as well. Kel is the first elimination. EMF will get put to sleep all the way on the back line. This Primal Rage will fall. Goblin will go down as well. Ionic with that duplicate onto the brig gets taken out, but Louis will win the battle of the brig. Zasu will fall. Boise State finally meets their first resistance. It's every single ult Santa Cruz could throw at the Broncos, they did, and it was enough to stop the payload just 4 meters away from capping.
I think at this point, Santa Cruz is in a no-win situation. They can either keep playing on this comp that they are not comfortable with and probably get outskilled in the dive, like overall team dive dynamics. Ooh, that was unfortunate. The burn, just slowly taking Goblin down. Or Santa Cruz can swap to what they're comfortable on, which is just not very good on this map, unfortunately. And either way, I don't see Santa Cruz having much of a hope of victory, especially with ultimates coming online for Boise State.
So a couple of swaps. The Briggs have both gone to Mercy. Going to try and power up their Ashes effectively. There's a Nano on the Guac. He's going to Primal Rage off this, you would have to expect. For now, just trying to set everyone on fire. Pulse Bomb going to take down EMF. Guac will be put to sleep. Primal Rage going to be active just to heal himself to full health. Louis will be taking it down, and Boise State will be able to push this payload. They'll be able to wrap this up in quick order. 3 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock, and that is a very quick time that Santa Cruz is going to have to match. And as you mentioned, Captain Sarge, just doesn't feel like they're comfortable on the comp that fits this map.
So apparently the coach for Boise State told us to make a statement with this map, to abuse the fact that Santa Cruz didn't have a very wide champion pool, and I think we're doing it here.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Santa Cruz wants to come out with for a final-ditch effort. It will be very hard-pressed to get to overtime with the same amount of time of Boise State. That 3 minutes, 25 seconds, nearly flawless. Only one lost fight, really, for the Broncos. And, yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting. Santa Cruz, you see they go back to a little bit of comfort. They're going to try and change it a little bit, but I'll be curious to see how long this looks like they're going to go for the Nano Blade. I'll be curious to see how long this comp's going to last.
Yeah, they definitely have shown that they're comfortable on this Reinhardt and how brawl comps generally play. But unfortunately, that's not what their DPS lineup is suggesting. They have the Genji and the Ashe, both of which don't fit super well into a brawl comp. And it looks like Boise State is going to be taking the strategy of both a close hold and then an absolute hard defense in this bottom area underneath that archway. And I don't know if Santa Cruz is going to have the tools to disengage this easily.
Gonna get the teleport off. Have not seen Boise State yet. Now they will see Boise State. Kind of sandwiched in between the two. Guac and EMF will both be stunned. Immortality Field will come down from AC, but EMF is the first target. Guac barely staying alive. The shields will break. Now start to recharge. Large Bagel will be taken out. So will Guac and Plato, and Boise State, the close hold, burns about 30 seconds off, and now they'll retreat.
Yeah, and at this point, Boise State just needs to regroup. Try to figure out how to engage into this Santa Cruz. That close hold is a gamble because you're so close to the enemy spawns, and it's really easy to be punished for it. But on the other hand, if you're going to go with a close hold underneath this archway, you can just lose that first fight and still be able to contest cart here, which is what Boise State is planning on.
Exactly what Boise State will do. They'll hop out underneath onto the members of the UC Santa Cruz who are pushing the point. Oasis and Enigma will be the first ones taken out. Kel will be knocked down as well. Guac very low. An Immortality Field comes out from Asu. Guac will be able to sustain. Looks like Santa Cruz wants to wait for the respawn.
Yeah, Boise State is going to have to really watch out for this Doomfist. He can one-shot the Mei, which is the key to the defense here. The Mei can just wall off most of this and make it really hard for Santa Cruz to engage. And if this Doomfist gets in there and punches that Mei into a wall, that could decide the game right there.
EMP is up in 10% for Plato. An Ant Matrix and a Deadeye up for Santa Cruz, and they'll throw both those down. The Immortality Field, probably a bit of overkill there. Great Maywall, though, from Goblin will stop any of those shenanigans. Blizzard's going to come out from Goblin. He will barely survive. Louis will be frozen. Plato now sitting on that EMP. We'll see when he wants to commit it. Meteor Strike from Superman going to be used. Looks like he might be just going to teleport to safety. He's actually going to use to jump right on top of Boise State. 6-man EMP comes out for Plato. And just like that, when you can't hit abilities, Captain Star, it's very hard to stay alive. And only Moses will do that as he'll force an Immortality Field out for himself. Never mind, it's a team kill for Boise State. And that's why you play the Sombra, because when you can do that, it's very hard to defend.
The EMP is such a good tool as long as you have follow-up, but sometimes it can be really difficult to get that. One thing I think is very ironic is Boise State is using the comp that Santa Cruz loves to run against Santa Cruz, who can't run it because they're on offense in Gibraltar.
Ooh, double shatter right onto the support line for Santa Cruz. There's no punish for Boise State. Goblin gets taken out. A hack goes on to Superman. Santa Cruz is showing life as now Kel will go down. Looks like Boise State unfortunately might have to concede this first point as they'll lose Guac and Kel. Plato will go down as well. And with 60 seconds left, unless Boise State can get a quick recontest, Santa Cruz should extend this game.
Yeah, I think going forward we should expect Boise State to swap to more of a dive comp to kind of match the meta on this map. Swap to something that's closer to what Santa Cruz has, but we'll see.
They're going to get the contest off. There's multiple ults, 5 of them to be exact from Santa Cruz. Sound Barrier comes down for a large bagel, but it misses the Broncos tank line. We see an Ant Matrix and a Primal Rage coming out for Santa Cruz. A nice hack onto Superman to stop the Meteor Strike. Kel's able to barely remech. There's a grab from Enigma that will come out. Boise State's already lost 3. They've only got 1 in return, just burning off time right now as Kel will demech. And Boise State might have pressed the issue a bit too much there, and Santa Cruz will add 2.5 minutes onto the time clock.
As you see Guac swapping over to this Winston, should allow them to play more of that dive dynamic that was so successful on their offensive round. And I'm curious to see if Goblin is going to stay on this May for the Blizzard or swap to something to fit the comp. The Blizzard is so powerful, but again, there's that question of keep your ultimate or swap to a better pick.
I would expect we'll see him hold for the Blizzard. We have the EMP as well, so a EMP Blizzard not out of the question yet. There's a Sound Barrier for Louis, so the cat and mouse of Sombra versus Lucio will begin here. There's a Deadeye that's going to come out. There's a 3-man EMP, including onto Louis. Can Boise State wrap it up before he's allowed to drop the Sound Barrier? The answer is yes, as the Blizzard freezes him perfectly. Enigma will go down as well, but Kel will fall, so despite the huge EMP and the Blizzard, Santa Cruz able to hold serve as Superman barely survives thanks to the Meteor Strike. Now he will finally be taken out, but Boise State loses just as many members, and Moises will throw down the Ant Matrix. EMF going to jump onto Goblin. Stun will land, and just like that, you see Santa Cruz pushing along quite strong.
Yeah, and you see Plato swapping over to the Tracer. Oh, never mind the Ash. Should allow a lot more long-range poke, especially in this wide-open last third point. Will allow for Boise State to just poke out the members of Santa Cruz before they get engaged upon. And yeah, Boise State's deciding to go with double bubble.
Santa Cruz is also on the double bubble, and Enigma is quite close to that grab. Already less time on the clock than Boise State has. We could see overtime here. Guac's going to try and jump up onto Ionic. He's able to get the kill. Can he jump away in time? The answer is yes, but just barely. And the answer ends up being no, as he stays out in the open with his back turned for just a bit too long.
Yeah, I think the idea, I don't think they expected so much damage to come out of Santa Cruz. Unfortunately, Guac got shot a few too many times.
Nice Sound Barrier from Louis. They're going to grab with it as well. Enough to kill 3 members of Boise State, make it 4, but they should be able to respawn in time. Guac is alive. He is getting body blocked in the point, though. Will finally leap out. He'll pop the Primal Rage to heal up and immediately get hit to half life. The rest of Boise State is coming out, and Deadeye from Ionic not able to find anything. And Boise State will start their contest in a 5-on-5. Kel gets taken out. A rally from Asu comes out. He barely survives, but immediately gets taken out. Body blocks coming. Guac barely able to reach onto the point in time to stall out for some more time. Come out Goblin and Plato to kind of wrap things up here. EMF and Enigma still sitting on the point. Pulse Bomb will come out, not able to find anything. EMF taken down. There's an Ant Matrix in the back line from Moises. But Enigma has to retreat, and Boise State has done just enough at 2 meters away to allow themselves for another recontest.
I think Boise State let their guards down. They started destroying Santa Cruz a little bit too hard on the attacking rounds. They thought they would have a very easy time here, but unfortunately Santa Cruz is showing that they can adapt quite well, actually, and they are putting Boise State through the paces.
Walk and swap over to that Winston. 1 minute left once again. Luis to swap back to the Lucio. Boise State has Bob available. A couple swaps coming out for Santa Cruz.
Yeah. Luis is swapping over to a lot of different characters.
Yeah, just resetting his ult charge. Almost guarantees there will not be a Sound Barrier in this final fight for Santa Cruz. Enigma gets taken out. Plato has to be careful, though. Bob is available. Boise State has the ult advantage, but just barely.
30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, with Boise State has the Graviton Surge and the Bob coming out, and Santa Cruz only has this Dragon Strike. So if Boise State takes the initiative here, they could just wipe the team right here.
There's the grab and the Bob with the nano on to Guac. Bob's going to be able to pick up one. Plato gets one more. Santa Cruz nearly won it, but Boise State, you got to give a huge shout out to Goblin and Plato. They did just enough to stall when the team needed it most. And Santa Cruz came within 2 meters of forcing overtime, but they couldn't find it. Boise State will wrap this up with a clean 3-0 victory over the Santa Cruz that was coming into this match tied for first.
Plato is going to get play of the game on this Ashe.
Probably yet in the last fight. Bob comes in.
Yeah, Bob was doing some work here.
Yeah, when they're all grabbed, Bob has a really easy time just standing there and firing. And Boise State will prove that once again in the regular season, they're one of the best teams in the NECC. They'll take down a team that they weren't tied with at 5-0. They'll move to 6-0, and we'll see if any team can slow down the Broncos in the rest of the remaining NECC regular season. But overall, a 4-0 night for Boise State Overwatch across the board. A very, very good night for them. The Broncos get back to their winning ways. Don't forget, you can score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You can match with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. Unlock your true talent, esportstower.com. Boise State proving why. Then some polls are the number 9 Overwatch team in the country. And your final thoughts from a great night of Overwatch for Boise State, Captain Star.
After last week was so disappointing, this is very much a feels good moment for Boise State fans to be able to show that we do have the skills to compete at the highest level, despite having a few rough matches last week.
Yeah, Boise State and the NECC setting themselves up perfectly. We'll see how in TESPA, now ABC, they'll stand with the Swiss format, making it so their match is probably going to get tougher after those pair of losses, and then in play versus the team looking incredibly strong as well. Well, that will wrap up tonight's performance for Overwatch. As we mentioned, a 4-0 performance. We'll get our ICCU Player of the Night. Your thoughts, Captain Star, on this amazing night of Overwatch for Boise State and who the Player of the Night should be?
I think both Goblin and Plato had some fantastic performances. It's really hard to choose because they kept swapping between who was doing the big plays, and Guac also got just a ton of massive shatters. It's tough to decide, but I'm just gonna have to give it to Guac for those shatters were fantastic, and his play on Winston. The dive really worked well for us on Gibraltar.
Yeah, I think I'd have to give it to Plato. I felt like you were right. Him and Goblin kind of exchanged who was the carry, but when Boise State needed it the most in the beginning of the night when I don't want to say we're struggling because they did 2-0 NYU and they 2-0'd Waterloo, but there were times where Plato had an absolute amazing flank, absolutely won them a fight, so I would have to give mine to Plato. We will see who the ICCU Player of the Game is going to be because I think you're right, though, Captain Star. I think Guac was incredibly strong on that Reinhardt. He's already the reigning Player of the Week in the NECC, but it is going to be Plato who is your ICCU Player of the Game. Of course, all 6 players probably deserve it, but Plato, I thought, just had a couple of great plays, especially early in the night, that allowed Boise State to go 4-0. Despite the grab, Boise State able
especially
to beat it. Sound barrier as well as a blizzard. There goes Plato. He will drop the blizzard right on top
with the flashbang, and then just got double headshot kills. That was fantastic play, and he's kept up that performance all night long.
Yeah, also was incredibly strong on that May, and he is the ICCU Player of the Game, which is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union. Leaves a great player, makes a team more successful. It's like Idaho Central's helping their members achieve financial success. Plato is your Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Night for Boise State's 4-0 performance in Overwatch with the blue team leading the way at 3-0. But Ace, who got in there as well, so you can say the blue team overall went 4-0 on the night, Captain Star, and it's hard to beat when you're a DPS player for a team that doesn't lose.
Yeah, it's really nice when we're a DPS player and your team knows how to play around you, because so often when you play DPS, you get engaged upon by the enemy team, you just get immediately destroyed without any peel. And Boise State knows how to protect their DPS players and let them pop off like Goblin and Plato did tonight.
Well, we will wrap this one up with our top 5 plays. Of course, they're presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. And here's our top 5 plays for Boise State's 3-0 win over Santa Cruz in the NECC. For safety. He's actually going to use the jump right on top of Boise State. 6-man EMP comes out for Plato. And just like that, when you can't hit abilities, Captain Star, it's very hard to stay alive. And only Moses will do that until forcing an immortality field out for himself. Never mind, it's a team kill for Boise State. And that's why you play the Sabra, because when you do that, it's very hard to defend. Boise State alive. We get the Ant Matrix from Moises. Eliminations right now, a pair of immortality fields. Now Boise State will turn it on them. 4 eliminations. Can they make it 5 or 6? No. EMF barely going to get out alive. Great Molten Core comes out, and despite the grab, Boise State able to beat the core. For both sides, the exact same time. Molten Core comes out for Goblin. A Blizzard will be used by Plato. That's going to do it for Boise State. Both shatters insane. Luckily for Guac, his team had more ultimates available. They'll pick that one up. I don't think I've ever seen a double 4-man shatter at the exact same time, Captain Star. Oh, so there's an Ant Matrix Reisu. See who wants to slam down that Q button first. He'll start with an Asu. He's going to drop the Ant Matrix. There's a Diva Bomb from Enigma. Ionic gets taken out before he can Deadeyes. There's a Deadeye for Plato. Bang, bang, bang. Right on the support. He's able to pick up 2 more. Who needs an EMP? Boise State wins that fight, picks up the team kill. The Shatter lands just onto 1. Louis going to get the sound barriers. Deep Bomb gets nothing but Enigma's neck. Large Bagel will drop down his sound barrier as well as an Ant Matrix Mesu. Pair of charges. Nice pin. EMF goes down. There goes Moises. Boise State looking for Louis for the team kill in the game, and they'll get it. They'll win map number 1.
Yeah, that last charge sealed the deal where
Setting us on the objective.
Whoa, oh, oh, time to accelerate!